You need power? We have power for you if you want.
Or USB-C should
Yep.
work. Yeah. USB-C.
You're welcome to use that,
Oh, that's
or
what this
this
is.
one you
Oh, yeah.
choose. It's about 45.
I think this one seems to work.
See if that powers up? Yep.
Ask a question for me. Oh yeah. You know what? Can you show them the AI links? Show them the links that's on the top and the
Okay.
I'll come right back.
You got it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to start in a couple of minutes. I'd love to show you a couple of things on the AI skillsfest.com. Blanking out there for a second. We have several things. Yes, ma'am. These are not working. I'm not too sure how to turn those on or off. Do the ones in the front working?
Only that one.
Only this is. That's unplug and plug it back in, right? Let's see that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now that sometimes screws up something over here. We're good. Did that help? Was anybody else paying attention to what I was doing during that whole time?
I think the TV was on before and they turned off when they went off signal. So
Ooh. I'm not too sure how to turn on and off again.
there a remote there?
There does not seem to be one. Can anybody see up there what those monitors look like? That's a good description of it. I appreciate it. We're going to have a lot of trouble with you doing code lighting because one of the things about AI is you got to be explicit. What branding? That's what I meant to say. My mistake. We monitor?
No, hold on.
Wow. Where do we get an order of that?
Right?
Shut
Looks
down.
so good.
Damian, here's
Yes.
a message. Please deposit 25 cents.
Got it. Perfect. I don't have any quarters and they eliminated quarters.
I mean, what did you guys do? Only change computers? That was
Yes,
it?
we did. We did. And it seems to come over here. I don't know
No,
why.
no, 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 I know. That's why. Hold on.
Good. Oh, you're trying to get the other monitor, but then we don't want to make sure it goes through here, right? So it's actually the way it is fine because I can just present from here and it goes through the recording anyway. So it's good. We don't need to tweak it. Are you trying to get it to go through one of these?
Because it might not recognize
Oh, those screens back there.
the screens. Because there should have been everything that's the projector.
Now? Okay. Oh, I see. 'Cause I think I changed the resolution on you. That's why.
Oh, you know what I did? I tightened the wires.
Oh, okay.
Also, it's like when we did turn them off for a while. I mean, we turned off the computer for a while, so therefore that turning it back on is something like
Beautiful.
yes.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, if we can get your attention here. We have a baby on the front stage. If that doesn't give your attention, I don't know nothing. Yes, that's right. So follow her to the next workshop. But that's for that section. If you're interested in AI, we got this section. Okay. So one of the things that we wanted to point out is this website is both the event website and the registration website because I've all been there. So I put it up before. If you look at the very, very top, I can't even reach there. Over there. Oh, can't believe I actually did that. You'll see a lot of different things. We see the slides. I need the exercise, so I don't mind jumping into all that. That's perfectly fine. So we have slides. The slides will be the slides you've seen before. Anything that you see added, for example, Dwight added some things to the end of the slides. They are now there. So if you don't see it, just refresh your page. If you go back, you can actually see
I lost my. Where'd it go?
all the things that are related to the event. You will notice there's a schedule. Well, a couple of different things. On the main website, I believe that we have our faces. If you scroll down, I think I wanted, someone asked me about this, I don't know, Richie, if we can. Beside
these
our
guys?
faces,
Who are these
there is
people?
links. I don't know what the heck this X is, I guess that's closed, but the other one, in, is clearly the first 2 letters, the word linked. In. And you will see our LinkedIn profiles there if you'd like to follow. As far as who we are the person who's the scheduler, is talking. But then, if you go back to the schedule,
Oh, way up top.
each one of the presentations, if you wanted to go back to where Dwight presented, he didn't make anything in there, you could have clicked on Copilot Studio. Now that this gentleman is, and his name is David.
Dave, it's fine.
David. Duh.
Don't call me late for dinner.
Yeah, that's right. Agents for Beginners, if you click there, it's going to jump to the repo, it's going to talk to you. So
Yes.
everything we have is on this website. In the future, we might put in there, I meant to put in the links. We are sending this to YouTube. This is going to be recorded. I'd love for you to pay attention and not just hope for the recording helps you. It's better here. Questions can be answered here on LinkedIn. I'm sorry, YouTube is what I'm trying to say. No way. But definitely follow everything along. There are all sorts of different links. Thank you, Dave, that he has over here. AI links, Copilot notes. Those are things that, different things that we found interesting, that you might see us sort of refer to throughout the presentation. So just something for you to note and all that. Don't fall into the rabbit hole, which is these amazing links, but they're there for you in the future. But to this great stage. I know you've heard the amazing things you could do with your own office. How you can instantly, like that, without doing anything, get up and running this chatbot. That was doing work. It was doing work. Over there, that man just sold 2 houses. Thanks to that chatbot. We have something unbelievably powerful. But some of you are itching. You're like, that's not enough. It's all behind the veiled wall. I want to control. I want to do it. For that, we need a little Python program. Don't worry if you don't have it installed on your computer. Don't worry if you don't know what Python is. Because we will do it all on the browser. So even if you have an iPad, iPhone, whatever, laptop, Mr. Dave Cobb is here to help you with that. All right, so I'll be warming up.
I'll try this. Let's see. Oh, perfect. Thank you. Can you hear me in the back? That's good.
No.
Hello? Oh, wait. There's a selfie. Hi. All right, give her a smile. Oh. Those eyes are huge. All right, so welcome. All right, so we're part 2. Hi guys, how was that part 1? How was working with Copilot? What do you guys think? Thank you guys. So, and there's way too much to cover. We have a little time, and there's just so many things to get into. And the way to make it after this little brief introduction, you go play with it, go ask questions, reach out to us, engage with it. There's so much you're going to be able to create. It's going to be it's a fun time. I'm having more fun now as a techie person than I have in my career. I've been doing this stuff for 30 years. It's crazy. I got out of school in 1994. Go Gators. And then first job was help desk and helping people over the phone in MS-DOS, typing in, editing their autoexec.bat and talking to a 50-year-old person about how to edit their autoexec.bat over the phone will teach you patience. It'll teach you troubleshooting skills. So, and then every single thing I did, there's jobs that I got, even the ones I thought at the time, I don't like this job or this is a grind. All of that stuff, it teaches us, all right? It's all for learning. So, I end up here today being able to talk to you guys about working with AI, and I'm just back to being a beginner again. Honestly, I'm back to new. Maybe I'm a couple weeks ahead of you guys with some of this stuff, but we're all learning anew. So don't feel like you are, or I challenge you not to look at it like, oh man, I'm behind, I'm never going to be able to learn. Look at it like everybody's in the same boat as I am. Everybody's in the same boat as I am. So you're learning with everybody else. So before I show you, actually I'll show you my slide here. Basically my agenda for this class, for this session. It's a really long, deep agenda. I really just want to give you a whirlwind overview of this AI Foundry. I won't dive very deep. I want to show you how to start playing with it. I'm going to show you the playground. You have access to this right now, and you want to play in the playground. There's other areas I'm going to show you there that you can go and explore, but I want you to start there. But then to really dive into the hands-on, we're going to look at a GitHub repository, this AI Agents for Beginners. I'm going to walk you all through taking a fork or a copy of that repository for your own GitHub account and editing it with a GitHub code space. It has Python, it has an editor, all that stuff's figured out for you. We're going to get something called personal access token so you can interact with these large language models from GitHub. Okay, they set this up so you have free access to this. So this is running in parallel to what's in Azure, what's in your Azure environment, and what's in your GitHub environment are going to be two areas that you could explore. All right? And then we're going to start diving into these notebooks, and we'll see how much time we have based on the questions that come up and what we want to work with first. All right. So my first challenge for you is open up another tab in the same browser that you guys have already had and been working with Copilot, and with the same account, I want you to go to ai.azure.com. Right, and I am in dark mode. Does anybody have trouble with dark mode? I told in presentations it's a bad form to use dark mode.
Wow.
Is this visible? No. Can you guys read this? Okay. Because this looks too bright for me now. When I hear this, it's just too much for me. I like dark mode. But you can, if you guys find this page, the first thing you can do is find that little gear in the upper right corner and change it to whatever you like. Anybody have trouble getting access to this? This is the login that White sent you this morning. I want to make sure you guys can get here. I'm going to start with everybody gets to the login. You probably having trouble getting ai.azure.com. Yeah. But this looks like yours, right? So click the gear on the upper right corner. It's better for my eyes. I'm one of these people that's in front of the computer. If I'm in front of the computer late, and then all of a sudden it's 2 a.m, and I realize my body is not trying to go to sleep and I'm not paying attention. If I don't have as much brightness from the screen, it's a lot easier for me to recognize, hey man, it's time to go to bed. All right, so everybody's able to get here. Give me a thumbs up if you're on this screen. All right, go like this if you're not on the screen. Okay.
Yeah, I just honestly don't have to use my hand.
Did you get the email, the login from this morning? You got that login?
I'm working on this.
What's the page?
It should look like this.
It may
It
look
might
different.
look a little bit different when it was some big icons, but you should go to ai.azure.com and, not
The
just
tab
here.
says Azure AI Foundry.
Yep.
Maybe it doesn't look like it.
How about this? It's close. It might look like there will be an area here that pretty much says create a brand new
Oh, that's what I
project.
That's what I got now.
Yeah. So go ahead and click on the brand new project. Sorry.
Yeah, please.
I didn't do that.
I love it. No. Hey, anytime. I have a lot more fun. You guys may have figured out, this is a lot more fun when we're doing this to interact with each other and just bounce back and forth and have a conversation. And so interrupt, ask a question, if you see something, I love that. Because if we're doing it by ourselves to a whole room full of people, it's more like work. But when we're going back and forth like this, it's more like we're in the office, we're trying to figure this all out together. So yeah, Steve caught on to the fact that this screen does not look like my screen until I do this. All right, so you can switch the gear here for light theme or dark theme, which I think is a lot. Anybody have trouble with this? Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Oh, the first one. Oh, you're ahead of me. So from here, you want to go to the one that I can see right now is the DNG AI Agent Bootcamp. So once I'm in the Foundry, Dave, what is this thing? Well, until you have a project, you're not going to know. So we're going to click on that the project, not the AI Skills Fest one, the DNG AI Bootcamp, or sorry, AI Agent Bootcamp project. So what do you just do to me, David? Well, the Foundry is your tool set. It's an IDE, an integrated development environment for working with AI. And I want to talk about all of these things over here on the left. But think about building a software application. It's not just AI, right? We don't have just this one thing to work with. If I'm building an AI project, if you actually come down and look at over here on the left, you're looking at this overview page. I'd like you to follow along with me and click on this model catalog. I was saying how the Copilot studio that you're working with is you create your own Copilot. You're doing it, you're building that. But the model that it's based on, you don't get to swap that out. You don't get to say, hey, I'd like to make a Copilot based on DeepSeek. I'd like to make Copilot based on this new model that came out last week. You don't have that flexibility in there. It's more of a controlled garden here. But this place is open. This place you can pick the model that's out there and you can try these different models. Now, I believe in this environment that you're in, you're not going to necessarily be able to deploy any models. We have a couple for you to play with. So speaking of playing, this is the model catalog. Let's click on Playgrounds. The screen that you're seeing here as an AI, as you're learning AI and how to do development in AI, you're going to spend more time here in the next several weeks or months that you get involved with this than you are actual coding. Because you really need to learn how do I interact with this large language model and the programming that I'm doing in the large language model. Yeah. Thank you. So the programming we're doing in the large language model, later on I'll show you some Python code and some syntax, and we'll go and see that code and run it. But your code here is going to be in the
I think maybe that they don't have a model, so they have to choose a model first.
oh, that's right, the model.
So everybody, when they go to the playground and see this, when they already have a model chosen, the deployment is what I'm talking about. Or do you see one that looks like, oh, click on something, where you have to create and try a playground?
Let's use 4.5 preview. Yeah, I haven't even been playing with this because it came out at the end of February. This is like a month and change old, right? I don't care which model you pick. I want you to give this thing a system prompt. And again, I'm just throwing you right into the deep end of the pool here. This is, when we work with large language models, this is that set of instructions that we were creating earlier when we were building your own custom Copilot. You're going to get good at creating these system prompts for the large language models. And how are you going to get good? Well, you're going to start off by being bad at it. All right? I want to get help with travel. Okay? This is my first grader attempt at creating a system prompt. All right? You can put your own in. I don't care what you put in there. But now look at this. I have a button here that says generate prompt. I should probably just copy and paste that here. Copy to generate prompt. Oh, yeah.
How's everybody doing? So there are some models that we've already chosen. We want to ai.azure.com, and we are on ai.azure.com regardless of what you see at the very top. So if you see something a little bit different, maybe in white, but a little bit different, just go to ai.azure.com. Hey, there, what's up? You will see here a try playground button right here. If you see a try playground button right here, when you click on playgrounds, go ahead and lift up your hand. You're already past that. Click on try playground button, and you'll get a chance to try a new one and all that. David, is it okay we click on that?
Yeah, of course. We're here to play. So you're going to click on the BNG. If you're in a set of projects, go on the search for the BNG, click on that project. You can get it.
Oh, do you have a project? Does everybody have a project already? Yours look like this?
Close this for now. Go to the playground.
Yeah, pretty much have two projects, the DNG one and the AI skills assessment.
Got it.
So they can choose either one.
And you're there. So you got a little bit of
So prepared.
real estate. But this is what the next. This will talk you through what you can do there. But we give you like a little tour of the UI. Any folks need help getting to that point? Anybody else need help getting into this? Ask me. If you might have figured it out, ask for help. Just wait for your hand. If you sit there and think, I don't know what's happening, I don't know what to do, because I'm too shy to ask for help, you are not getting the point in the exercise. We're here to help you. We want to do this like we're not, we're not trying to help. Actually, the tech support job I got a long time ago is actually still coming in again.
No, it does not matter the project.
So I went back to the overview. So you can see where you're at. We went back to make sure that we got lost. Anybody else? Ask. Talk about it. We want the interaction. We want you to say, hey, it doesn't work. You want it to work. All right, yeah, so the one that starts with BNG, that's the project you want. And then you're going to go to, let's go down here where it says launch video. So you came into it from the portal, and then you're going to go to, here it is, go to playground, try to chat playground, and yeah, start with my project. So there you are. So now you can click next if it prompts a little system message giving you a tour. All right, play with that. Who's got a question? Who won't raise their hand about their conference stroller? All right. But this is what we want to do. The challenge with this technology is everybody's in their own little lane behind their own little screen, and that, hey, I don't know how to do this, and I don't want to ask for help, so I'm stuck. The whole goal of the community is, hey, you're with a bunch of other people who were also stuck maybe 5 minutes ago, and they're happy to help you get to that next level. All right. So if I generate a prompt, I want to have help with travel. Yeah, right, because now that we've been doing our real estate dealings, we've made lots of money, we can spend our money by traveling, see the world. And a big part of your work, if you hear this term AI engineer, is going to be building these system prompts that prime the large language model to give it a context for the way that you want to interact with it. You're giving it a role, you're giving it a set of instructions, you're telling it what you want it to do and also what you don't want it to do. All right. So if I put that in there, and I can just say, where can I go in Egypt? By clicking down here, typing my query, I'll get back this result here. And I'm just throwing it right into the pool, all right? Here, see this number on the bottom? The meter is running. I think the model that we're working on now, this is a doable. This might be costing like $5 per million tokens that we give it or get back. And each model has a different cost. So I can see how many tokens are going in and out of the model down here. Why does that matter? Well, you're going to be building these large language models that costs money. You're trying to get work done with these large language models that might be doable with a very expensive, latest, greatest model. We're working with this model that's brand new. This is going to cost more. It's a large language model, but there's also other models. When we go to that playground, when we go to the, thank you for telling me about the automated evaluation right now. When we go to the model catalog, we can find other models and try them out. Maybe there's a cheaper model that's going to be just as good. Right? And maybe I want to try out an expensive model and a cheap model and compare how they work. Because if I'm spending money every time somebody asks a question, I want to make that cost effective. So keeping an eye on the tokens here and the variety of questions, this is going to be helpful to me. So, all right, so Dave, you put in a system prompt and you asked it a question. What else can we do with this? So, any questions from this so far? Everybody's playing. Now, if I just get you guys to go play with this, I will have accomplished my mission. You're going to learn more from playing with this, and picking something that you want to do, something that you want to try, and playing with this for an hour. You're going to learn more than listening to me talk for 4 hours. Okay, so go play with this. Yeah. Yeah.
How long is this subscription?
I'll say the next 12 to 24 hours, depending on how fast the meter runs when everybody starts to play with this. So by the end of the day, I'm going to show you where you can do this. You can interact with this not through this playground, but through the GitHub large language models, and that's not metered. That's for free. There's an upper limit with the GitHub models. Eventually it'll stop working, you don't have to pay them, but everything that you can do to learn GitHub large language models, there's a library that you can play with for free. So the next section will be looking at that. All right. So as I'm programming this thing with my system prompt, you click on Add Section here. There's safety. So some of the things have come up about cybersecurity and things like that. If you click on Add Section and you click on Safety, they have automatically constructed, Microsoft has put together prompts that are going to be added to your system prompt. It'll make it a little longer. It's going to add a little bit more tokens to each of your requests, but it can protect your interaction with the model. So, hey, I want to avoid harmful content. If I check this box, I can see that they've added a safety system message. And this is instructions that's going to tell it how to behave. Incidentally, if you're running out of screen space like I am, I can close the help over here and then open it back up. The help is really useful for context of what you're doing. I can close that and come back to this later. So must not generate content that may be harmful to someone physically or emotionally. All right, so I'm able to find these standard system messages. And I can also, there's other things here for adding the sections. I can give it, and I won't get into this right now, I can give it, does anybody remember the term, we had the one-shot prompting? Use that term, right? Where I'm just going to ask you a question, I'm going to get the answer back that I want. Anybody hear about few-shot prompting? So has anybody implemented few-shot prompting? Okay. So what do you have to give it when you're doing few-shot prompting in order to teach it what to do?
You're giving several examples.
Yeah. And the example has, each example has what? 2 parts to it, right?
Yeah, response and user input and expected result.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So if I want to give it examples, hey, when I ask you this, I expect you to give it back to me like this. So I can focus on syntax, I can focus on the topic matter, I can focus on structure. I can tell, hey, I want this answer in bullet points, and maybe examples that are giving bullet point answers. Right? So I can teach this thing how to interact with me based on these examples. Right? So you can put your examples in here. Right? And there's also, I don't have an example for this one, but you're able to create variables. Give me my sample for this. You thought you had capacity, you mentioned variables, how do I use the variables? There's an example, but right now my mind is blank on how to implement the variable here. All right, so by putting in examples, I can tweak and tune this thing to be the model that I'm looking for. All right. So you can create, customize these models, and you're playing with it. Oh, wait, before you go there. And then there's a set of parameters. I don't want to get into the weeds for the parameters here. If you go all the way down to the bottom on this, these little information bubbles here will tell you at a high level what these parameters do. The ones that I play with when I'm working with this is temperature. My wife was talking this morning about what's the next most likely token. There's kind of there's a range there. So I want to get the most likely token. I want it to be very, very predictable. I want it to be, with a quick fox. And I want the next word to be jumped all the time. I'm going to grab the temperature all the way back to 0. If I want it to have lots of options, the quick fox ran, the quick fox fell asleep, the quick fox was no longer quick, whatever it was. If I drag this to the right, it'll show less likely options. That's just one of the little variables, one of the little ways that you can tweak these things. But this is the place to play. This is the place to learn. This is how you're going to understand how to work with large language models in AI. And there's no substitute for playing. There's a couple good documents, and actually it'll show up in the links. There's Google recently released a PDF with guidance on prompting. OpenAI just released a PDF with guidance on prompting like in the last 2 months. So there's large multi-page books on how to learn and work with prompting. And reach out to them and find them. But I want you to play. I want you to try this because this is our interface for working with AI now. All right. Any questions on what you're seeing here so far? All right. How many of you are actually? Yeah, go ahead.
Repeat about temperature. It is most likely and less likely to the right or the left.
Yeah. So think about it like this. It's the randomness of the result, right? So if I drag this all the way to the left, it will produce more repetitive and deterministic responses. If I increase the temperature and drag it to the right, it'll produce more unexpected or creative responses. Right? So sometimes I want it to be creative. Hey, help me write a poem. Right? Sometimes I want it to be predictable. Hey, can you look at my project plan and make sure that I've covered all the bases? Can you make sure that this document is syntactically correct and it's professional and I've spelled everybody's name right? Right? That's when I want it to be. Yeah.
This tab or section is labeled view code. It doesn't seem to be very intuitive to me that we're working with code here, maybe parameters or setup, but why is it labeled view code?
You have to click it. If you click that, you'll see the code.
Yeah, that's right. This is jumping ahead, but it's good. The idea here is you start with playing. You're starting with this UI. This is a user interface to work with that large language model. At some point, I'm going to say, all right, this large language model, I think I know how to prompt it to get what I want. I think I've got the variables figured out that I want to use. I think I have
That's the code behind
my examples there. Basically, you can think about it like that. This is where I could take, and notice the drop down in the upper right corner, in my particular stack, whatever development stack I want to use, this will talk me through how to write an application that interacts with this same model. How many of you would call it a REST API? Just to give you a read of the room. How many of you, higher up, how many people call it a REST API? Maybe a quarter of you. Okay, or maybe a third of you. So, the folks that not call it a REST API, just imagine that all of this code, whether it's AI, whether it's code that we write, whatever language it is, all right, just imagine that all these things are just Legos. We're just playing with abstract mental Legos, right? The API is how we connect the Legos. If I want my application to be able to talk to this large language model, I connect them over this API, right? On one end, there's this point sticking out of the Lego. It's the endpoint URL. Right? This place on the internet, like a URL for like a web page, is the URL for a REST API to communicate. And then there's a set of values and variables here to interact with it. Pass it, hey, I'm talking to this thing. I'd like to talk to this endpoint here. This is openai.azure.com. This is specifically for this project. And hey, I'd like to interact with this model that has this name. This is the deployed model. And then there's code to authenticate and then set the parameters for that conversation. Okay, so if I scroll down here, right, so I can see that first field on the left, that was the system prompt. Here's that system prompt I typed in. Here's the user prompt. Here's what I typed in. If I put in some examples, if I put in a few shot prompt, I would have several user contents and responses. So you're going to use that playground to tweak it, see how it works. You're pretty happy with it? Okay, now I'm going to write an application based on it. You're going to run your application. Oh, you know what? You need to make it better. Let me go back to the AI model. Let's tweak this. Okay, let me try this a little bit. Okay, let's put the code out. Let's try it again. Right? And you're going to be iterating. You're going to be trying this over and over, and you're kind of dialing it in. Right? So the first time you deploy this, it's 99% wrong. Right? There's 1% right. Okay, that's good. Let me try it again. Well, you know what? Now it's 97% wrong, but I got a little bit better. Right? You're going to be iterating as you create more and more releases of your AI application. Okay, so this is in Python, but there's a language here for all interactions. And then the settings there, those variables, like the temperature, I don't want to get into the reasons, there's so much of the time talking about it, but all these are documented, you can try different ones. Temperature is the most common thing to tweak. But this is how I go from playing with the large language model to actually deploying some application that works. Any other questions on this one here? Yeah, I'm standing up in front of the room and telling a bunch of grown people to go play.
Can I
Yeah.
ask them about the parameters here?
Yeah.
So, professionally speaking, you have this thing called temperature and this thing called top heat. They're mutually exclusive. Top heat, we talked about it earlier, that's just the highest probability in the list of tokens that it gets back. Temperature, on the other hand, it's like this idea where, remember how earlier we were talking about how with language models, the tokens are these vectors, right, of related tokens? Well, temperature is how many of these different levels do you want the LLM to look into? So the temperature is, do you want to go deep or do you want to go shallow in the number of parameters? So the higher the temperature, the deeper it gets, the more possibilities of tokens it can pull in. So that's what they mean by the more creative it is, because it's more values that it can pull, and it has nothing to do with the top priority or the top probability. So one is choose the top priority. The other one is how deep of the parameters do you want to pull, allow the LLM to pull into to get your results. So they're two different things. But in essence, at the end of the day, all they just simply mean is, do you want results to come back more deterministic, or do you want the results to always be more random and stochastic as you're building this out?
these sliders left, I get something that's very predictable. If I drag these things to the right, I get something that's very random and creative, basically. So think about, hey, I've got this one large language model, but based on what I put in here, I can get 2 different behaviors, right? And so we can change this behavior based on the parameters, based on the system message, based on the system prompts. We're changing its behaviors, right? So just imagine, you ever guys heard of like the 4 hats, where you have the creative, and then the designer, and the artist, and then the designer, and then the manager, and then the judge? You ever heard of this concept? Just look up the 4 hats paradigm, right? So imagine that I have one AI that's super creative, and I say, hey, come up with 20 Twitter posts or YouTube descriptions, right? And then I would have another model that I drive slides right. Hey, you're a producer, and you take artist input, and you decide what's really going to work, what's going to be the most cost-effective, or what's going to be the biggest hit, or something like that. So you have the output from one AI agent. Okay, and I just use that term agent, right? So creating this entity that has a certain set of behaviors, that given a set of inputs, going to give me back some output that's creative, right? And then I might have it talk to another agent that is a critic, or that's a evaluator, right? Weigh this and find the very best one. I don't want to waste money on 10 different YouTube posts. I want to make the one best one. So help me find the most, highest probability of success, or something like that. Right. So I can have, with these numbers here, and changing the system prompt, giving them a few shot prompts, putting in these values here, and be able to change the way this thing behaves, right? And so you're able to, once you have viewed the code, Steve pointed out, you can actually, this will walk you through creating code that'll interact with this, right? And this endpoint here on the bottom is that where those 2 Lego pieces connect, right? Where I can have my application talk to the large language model and get back a response. So, which menu? If you look below the system prompt, there's an item there for add section. So it's the examples here. Am I doing time? What do I have? Let me just do a time check. Right now it's 1, right? So we've got
You got 1:30.
44.
All right. Good.
All right, so we got plenty of time to do everything we want to do. All right, I want to get you guys into the code, so let me give you the whirlwind tour. And I knew this was going to come. There's lots of things to show you, but this is where your time should be spent initially. Learn this, get good at prompting before you decide to go and build things with these large language models. Okay, you can add in other services to interact. So the same way when Dwight was creating actions and he was giving the additional things that the co-pilot could do, AI services lets my large language model interact with other systems. Hey, I want it to be able to talk or recognize speech. I want it to be able to translate, or I want it to be able to look at video or images and help me translate that. I want it to help give me tools to make sure that I'm having safe interactions with a large language model. So there's AI services I can interact with. Okay. Notice a lot of these things here are in preview. There's no more beta software. They don't have beta software anymore. It's preview. They just put it out there. Actually, before it comes to this, there's a private preview where they have a certain set of their Microsoft customers who say, hey, we want to try a new feature. Bigger companies that are using this a lot, we get a private preview of that feature. And then once it's been through, it works there, maybe that's like the alpha version. When it comes down as a beta version, we say, hey, we're just going to release it, but we're just going to put preview next to it. So then and then there's limitations. Maybe they don't charge you for it. There's no guarantee of performance, so you're experimenting with it. So, and then they use that information to learn about it. Yeah.
Good question. Not for the subscription, but in general, when you're trying out
Yes, you're paying to play. So there's the pricing. This is distracting me. The price. You have like the larger language model, the newer language model, like this one here. Probably $5 or $6 per million tokens. You know, now, like you saw, us passing it a couple hundred each time. Yeah.
They're not showing you like how much you're paying, like how much is being used at that moment.
By seeing the tokens back and forth, that's one way to check. And in your Azure account, you can get, there's ways to programmatically get an expert of what's being charged in terms of like a log, like a running log. And there's cost control. Yeah, that's part of that. Keep track of your costs as part of this deal. Yeah.
I'm sorry, and this might be overstepping my thoughts, but like,
Please do.
where would you go turn off the do not make harmful content?
Okay, so one way is to host it yourself.
Okay.
One way is to get an open model and host it in your own environment.
Right.
Azure is going to have a default level, a minimum level of safety.
Right.
And if you want to drag it up past that, you have to ask for permission. So law enforcement agency, right? So I've got case files from crimes or murder, and I need to be able to have that information going in and out. Okay, so that's a justifiable reason to turn off content safety. So in Azure's environment, if you want to turn that off, you have to go and apply for that. There's a slider, you can drag it to 1, but not to 0. For you to be able to play with it, you can get a model like DeepSeek or host it locally and play with that. And Mr. David's going to talk about how to do that, how to work with that stuff locally, so you can experiment that way. Yeah.
So to answer your question about pricing tokens, there are other SaaS applications you got to pay for that will just pretty much sit in between where your workflow is, and will give you a very detailed breakdown for each request. And I think one of the things involved is forecasting on pricing also before you even actually send out anything you want to do. And it's not just for Azure, it's also going to be support for
FinOps.
Yeah, it would be that stuff, yeah.
So when I'm navigating this thing, I can go into that model catalog, I can find the model, and this is going to be pricey because it's brand new. I can come in and scroll down and find the pricing. Wow. For 1 million tokens going in, $75 per million tokens, that's quite pricey. And then output $150 per million tokens. So I don't want to use this for everything. I'm using this to play and learn, right? But if you go look at for most cases that you're working with, there's going to be a smaller model that's optimized for that use case. So for instance, I'm working with code. I want to have something that's coding for me, or helping with my coding. I can get a small language model that's optimized for my environment that would be like 1/100th the cost for the same kind of work. So you have to be aware of that. We're playing with the latest, greatest tools here. To some degree, and just, in all transparency, a big part of this engine is, they put these out here, they do have to charge for it. So they're happy to run the meter and let you guys play with these things and spend money. So it's your job to be aware of those tokens and to find the model that's the most cost effective and use that for your environment. It's like with any other cloud spend. Hey, wow, when I spin up this $100 an hour VM, everything runs really fast. Yeah, okay, you have a $100 an hour VM, that's why it's running really fast. You need to build the application that runs in the $1 an hour VM. So it's really fast. So that's as part of the working with the cloud, that's what you need to do. Any other questions? So good guys, this is really great. So the things that you can do, now that you start working with the large language models, I'm going to jump to this next section here. This is a preview to be able to create agents using these large language models instead of me chatting into the box and getting back the response in the box. Right? And I didn't show you that, but the chat, and you should play with this, the chat has the ability to upload a sound file or an image file or other content, a document, and ask it about that. I didn't show you that. Okay? So there's lots of different ways to interact with it. I'm typing into a box, I'm giving an input, and getting back a response. We're about to talk about working with AI agents. So what if I take that Lego behind that conversation. Say, I'd like to plug this into something else. Instead of chatting into it, I'm going to have the output of one of some software, maybe another agent, be the input to this agent, and then it has an output, maybe that goes to the user, or maybe that goes to another agent. So we're turning that interaction into a software component that we can reuse. So agent, when I think about it, is just, I want you to think about it actually just as a Lego that you're building and you're interacting with this, right? So you guys should be able to come in, and you guys have access to this, you can start creating these agents. You'll be able to refer to these agents in the code that we're about to look at. So other things here, I just high level, super high level. Templates is a set of infrastructure as code that'll deploy applications into your Azure environment that have a few different reference architectures for how to work with AI. So standing up a basic AI chat, or getting started with AI agents. These are all, if you look at these various Git, you can look them in Git repositories. So it's a way for you to stand up something that's working and see how it works and understand it, and then maybe tweak it for your purposes. Don't write anything from scratch. Don't write any big application from scratch. Start with sample code. This is sample code for you to play with in your Azure environment. Fine tuning. So each time, you saw that when I updated that system prompt and the putting a few shot prompt, adding that stuff in, each request, each input, each output meant that those tokens were going in, those tokens were going out, and that's costing me money each time. Okay, so, but I get to pick this model up off the shelf and use it as it is. Okay, I'm using GPT 4.5. Here's my prompts. I'm ready to go. Fine tuning says, hey, wait a minute. I don't want to pay to pass those tokens in each and every time. Let me modify an existing model. Let me give it those inputs, kind of like the few shot prompts. Let me just make a file full of inputs and responses, and I'll use that to train the model, and then I'll have my own customized model that I can interact with. And I don't have to. I have to do some upfront work and planning, but then each subsequent call to the model is cheaper. Okay. Does that make sense? Does that not make sense? Who does it not? Yeah.
No, it makes sense, because I mean, you're trying to make sure that it will only work for the scenarios, the prompts that the end user is going to utilize, right?
Yeah.
So in the long run, it's going to save you money, right? Especially if you launch it for a huge campaign, right? In national market. Right? So it might cost you some extra dollars if you know someone that knows how to fine-tune models in general.
Yeah.
And so that's again, it's like you have to invest in money for someone to help you fine-tune that model. But in the long run, it's going to save you a lot of money in terms of the tokens that are being utilized for the lifetime of that model within that marketing campaign.
Yeah, that's a good example. Yeah, and the more I use it, the more I save each request. Yeah, I invested, I paid a very smart, expensive person. I spent maybe dropped a few grand, but now each request I'm saving a dime. If I got millions of requests, then it works out. Yeah.
Can you create more than one program at the same playground at the same time? Another window?
Yeah.
Like not to confuse your current.
Yeah, you can have multiple conversations going on with this. Yeah. You could just duplicate this tab and me having different conversations. But yes, be aware that the model created, you're using a shared resources. So other people are querying it. Sometimes it will say, "Hey, you reached your use limit, and there's too many requests." Try it later. So there's throttles to prevent it from being overwhelmed. So you can overwhelm yourself. Yeah.
I'm just wondering, for this demo account, what services are enabled? Would it be possible, for example, to create a custom knowledge base in the block store, and then maybe create an index as well, using one of the indices, and then create an agent as well?
Yes, absolutely. That's a pretty common path for this stuff. We haven't talked about retrieval augmented generation yet, RAG, but basically, hey, how do I get data to that model so I can talk to the model about it? So one of the ways, and this is kind of a new feature that there's what you're talking about, there's another way to show you how to do that, but it's since I'm on this page. Content understanding is a new way in the UI to interact with other back-end services like what you're describing, right? So I don't think I have anything here available to it, but I could deploy an Azure AI search index. It's actually based on Apache Lucene. So if you look at Apache Lucene, that's an open source project. Microsoft has taken that and rapidly improved it for working with large language models. So it's for vector-based search, semantic and keyword search. So I could connect into an AI search index. I can connect into a storage account, so I could put PDFs or other documents, Markdown, different things that you can read lots of different documents. So in addition to that way to play with my own data, I didn't mention this, but in the playground, I don't see it here for adding your own data. Usually they have.
That's an interest.
Thank you. I'm like, what is it? What happened here? So yeah, I just touched on the agents. I didn't actually get into the details. Let's look at Damian's agent here. Let me try the agent. Here's Damian's agent. I'm going to try it in the playground. So it's a similar interface to the chat, right? But over here on the right, I can give it instructions. I don't know why they changed the UI for this. They should kind of keep it consistent. They just swapped the UI around, all right? But here, I can add knowledge, right? So I can say, let me add knowledge to this agent. Let's upload files, and that'll automatically put those in the blob storage account, connect to an AI search index, get data out of Fabric. All the data people here, if you want to be one of the expensive data people that has job security in the era of AI, there you go. Right? This is how the larger organizations are going to be feeding data into their AI, and then for analytics, there's a ton of overlap there. Just being the data person for working with AI, that's going to be solid, and it's going to be interesting too. It's going to be solid employment. Being searched, TripAdvisor, there's other sources that we can put in there. And then prompt flow. And just, again, all of these things, we can talk for this stuff for the whole week. I'm just kind of giving you a teaser here. Just teasing you with Andy. The idea of prompt flow is, I have instead of having input, you talk to the large language model, and then immediate response. What if I want to have a series of steps? Okay, what if I want it to, instead of just, what if I want it to go back and forth and have a multi-round question and answer to come up with a better answer? I want to give it data and be able to ask it questions. I want to be able to read URLs, how to classify that. There's these different components that can be built into this flow. So we're building a program. I'm just going to pick one. Actually, I look at these all, and there's a link here for view more samples. Okay, so wow, they've added some recently. So I want to import, I want to interact with files in a file share or from a local folder. But if I'm just going to pick a model here, chat with Wikipedia. So the idea is that they're customized prompts and then interactions that I can use. I click clone here. And then I have this visual representation of the interaction with the large language model. Uh-oh. I want to show that to you, but it's not responsive. Maybe if I pick something simple. Oh, you know what? I might not have privileges to do that. Oh, no, there it goes.
Which flow are you using again?
The standard chat flow. Oh no! Oh wait! Wikipedia just came up, so there was just a lag between when I clicked it and when it came up. So I'm probably just flooding the server right now. Yeah, when you click, you get so used to clicking and getting an immediate response. You're clicking this button and it's talking to some server here, and it's probably going to some server on the other side of the country, and it's waking up some server. Somebody wants a chat flow, please respond. And it is some virtual machine somewhere is spinning its hard drive. But then eventually it'll come back with this little, looks like a flow diagram. It's like individual components. So it's like a low code, no code, but environment to be able to customize the way this thing's going to interact. Yeah, I clicked too fast. All right, so it looks like this. Looks like a dark screen. All right, so maybe I'm not showing this to you today. I'll give that a moment to load. So tracing. So when Dwight was doing the interaction with the Copilot, he was trying to figure out, hey, is this Copilot, when I ask it this question, is it going out and trying this action, or is it just responding to what it knows? He was trying to look at the activity behind it. So tracing this kind of gives you a way to see, hey, is this thing interacting with data behind it? Show me what's happening. So it's kind of the way to debug the interactions. For whatever reason, this isn't coming up. I'm not going to worry about it. There's tools to evaluate these models. So you can give it a set of questions. Hey, if I ask my large language model these questions, I expect the answers to have these words in them. And I can create automated evaluation. So as people are making changes, I can have a pipeline that evaluates, hey, how good is my AI model based on the questions I expect it to be able to answer. Right? Oh, AI red team, oh, preview. Right? So hey, we want to have a team that asks hacker-type questions and tries to get the AI to misbehave, tries to get it to break its programming. Right? So we've got a way to build that in here too. So part of deploying this stuff is going to be testing it in an automated way. Right? So that's coming too. And the rest of this here, if I come down to my asset tier models and endpoints, just shows you everything that we've deployed. So we've got a couple versions of GPT here. You guys can play with either one of these. I would actually recommend if you're playing, go ahead and use GPT 4.0. This one's going to be the latest, greatest, but this one's going to be more cost effective and a faster response. This GPT 4.0 is going to be even faster than that. So I think it's like a tenth of the cost. It's really a lot lower. So there's this trade-off between, hey, it knows lots of things and it costs more and it gives you lots of results back, to, hey, it knows a few things, it's going to be very quick and it costs a lot less. But it might, and you're going to, as the developer, as the application developer, you're going to have to figure out, what's the right size Lego for this component. Right. Oh, and we got Llama down here too. So the last thing, I don't want to get into to the gentleman's question in the back, being able to connect to data. I can add data. This will create an index. I can point it to a storage URL. And what's nice about this is I can create it as a part of a project, and I can consume that with multiple agents and other things. So the hub, it contains projects and it has resources that those projects can use. And then projects can contain resources that the individual agents and apps can use. And then finally, the web apps. So once you're working with your models, the same way that Dwight was able to deploy a web front end for his Copilot, this makes it easy to deploy a web application that you can interact with. All right, so who wants to run some code in Python? All right, let's do this. All right, and now let me take any questions on this. There's much more, but we're going to stop. You're in the links page. Here. That's right. So if you go to the schedule here for David Cobb Presents Agent for Beginners, okay, you can click on this. And it's going to take you to this URL. Let me see if I can get the URL to display. Okay, it's github.com/Microsoft, that's the publisher of this, /AI-agents-for-beginners. Okay, and I want you to log into this from your existing GitHub account. Hopefully I'm logged in.
You say we can click on a schedule?
Yes. If you are looking at the schedule on the web page.
On EFS.com?
That's right. So if you're looking at the schedule, all right, we're in session 2.
Oh, okay, all right,
All right, if you put it on this,
okay.
that's going to take you there. Anybody need help getting to that? All right, and everybody should have a GitHub account. And then you're about to use, this is arguably one of the coolest things about GitHub, is the ability to create and work with other people's code. You create a free environment to work with their code.
You can fork it, right?
You're going to have to fork this. In order to play, you want to fork this. So forking says, hey, I would like to copy this person's code and to my own repository, so I can learn. All right? Or maybe I'm going to contribute to this. Maybe you're going to contribute changes to this one. Okay, so if you click fork, you have to pick your owner. I've already done this, so this is not coming up. Okay, and you can just leave the same name. You can change this, but there's no need to change it. All right. And you're going to create a fork. And you're going to come to something that looks like this. Anybody need help getting this far? So if you're following along with me and you would like to run some Python code, and it's going to take us all of about 15, maybe 10 or 15 minutes to run your first query here. No, maybe not long. I don't know. We'll see. To be able to work with code that's talking to a large language model and getting back a response in Python that you can then tweak. So if you're following along with me, and if you're just watching, that's okay too. But if you're following along with me, raise your hand so I can. All right. So we've tired off Rusty. That's good. That's okay. That's fine. You can come and play with this anytime. There's nothing I have that you need to play with this. Everything because you have a GitHub account, you have everything you need to work with this. All right, so you can come back and play with this at any time. So, in order to work with this, the first thing you want to do, over here on code, I want you to create a code space. Create a code space on main.
You saw somewhere where that came from? You ready to follow along?
I can't make everything stay here. Yeah, if I click on the green button for code, right, and then code space here, I'm opening it in code space. All right, while that's happening, I'm going to open up another tab. I'm going to be referring to the documentation for this. It's all in one place, but there's two views. You may be familiar with GitHub, and you have GitHub pages. So we're out to find a repository of some of the code. This looks like some of these folders. Over here, if I click on this is going to look like a web page. Okay? The markdown content, the MD files, you see over here, down here. But the content that's here in this repository is also visible as web pages here. All right? I want you to open it in a second. Don't leave this page. I want you to open up a new page, a new tab. If you right-click here, open link in a new tab. Because this is where I'm going to be doing the work. But if I do a right-click and open up another tab here, this is my actual instructions here. And I'm hoping the folks that are interested in learning how to work with large language models and code, you're going to be spending a lot of time here. You can spend, I spent about 20 hours with it. I've probably gotten into maybe a quarter or a third of what this thing will do. And they keep adding content. They've added MCP, Model Context Protocol, so they're adding some other stuff to this. This is where you're going to learn how to do code with large language models, in my opinion, right now. And it's you can use Azure. We're going to be using, I don't know if really want to use, I want to make sure you guys can work with GitHub first. That's easy. There's a couple hoops we have to jump through to get it to work with Azure AI agents. So I think that'll probably be the rest of my time. I want to spend time here doing a lot of stuff, but I want to get you started so you can explore this. Okay, so while we're waiting for our code spaces to wake up, this is talking about, hey, it has 10 lessons, okay? Telling you about, hey, you can use GitHub models and Azure AI Foundry. There's samples for both. So each of these sections, there's going to be 10 sections, actually more than 10 sections now. There's going to be code that just uses the GitHub models, which are free. I'll show you how to get to that in a second. That's the first thing we're going to do. And then there's a process to log in to your Azure account. And once you're authenticated from the Git repository or from your code space to your Azure account, you're going to get a connection string, put that into your project, and now your code can talk to your agent or your large language model that are in Azure AI Foundry. And then there's some that include working with indexes, working with your AI search index as well. And I'm really highlighting these frameworks. So there's lots of frameworks for working large language models. There's tons of them out there. I'm focused on Azure. These are both open source Azure frameworks. From what I understand, semantic kernel is the basis for Microsoft Copilot with a capital C. Okay, Copilot is not open source, but it has components that are. So the semantic kernel, and you can use this as an open source project. AutoGen is an open source project. And then to interact with the agents that you're working with in Azure AI Studio, that you're able to use that as well. Okay, so this project helps you with all three of those. So you're looking at kind of comparing and contrasting what you can do with different ones.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
How do I get access to that? I mean, I got the
You got your code space?
yeah.
How do I get to that page that I just showed you?
Yeah.
If you look at the repository that we opened,
And if it's your version, it has your picture of the top.
over here on the right,
I think so.
a separate tab. My code space is still opening. I'm having that little flutter of, oh no, is this going to work? I have another one. Let me see. I'm going to try to get mine open. How many of you have your code spaces open? It looks like Visual Studio now. Sure.
No.
Yeah, they're there. Just be happy that it worked. It's not spinning for the work for me. Not yet. You haven't done anything wrong yet. We'll do some time. Yeah, that was right. Yeah, this is Visual Studio. You guys look at this. All right. So how many of you that are following along with me, you have a question? So raise your hand if you're following along with me. You've never used Visual Studio Code before. You're brand new to Visual Studio Code. Nice. Okay. Code spaces. Great code spaces. Who else needs help getting to the code space? So when I had my clicker, I could control click, or I would use it tab. So you go back here, I'll go back. So you have another tab for it. Fill our tab. So go to the repository. What's it? You have the repository. Show me this thing. Show me this tab. Go up here. Slash Microsoft slash AI dash agents dash 4 dash beginner.
put it on green code space on me. Anybody else? Right. So let's start with this. You have the page, you have the AI, stores.com page. I recognize, guys, that I'm leading you, it's like I'm leading you on a jog across a tightrope. I recognize it's out there. Just keep going. There's next. Nobody will die today. This is how it works. You're barely keeping up, you're barely comprehending. Oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? We're in the right place. Trust me. Put those spaces in. And create those spaces on there. That's good. Who else needs to help get to the code space? All right. This is. Who else needs help? Seriously, ask for help. If not, are you shy? All right. So, Dave, why are you so hyped up about this? Well, I have here a fully implemented development environment. I don't have to install anything. I'm using a web browser. Okay? If I know what I'm doing, I can connect to this from my desktop and from my own installation of code spaces. And there's a development environment that has Python, has all the requirements I need. It's all set up there in the repository. I don't need to do any preparation for this. It's fantastic. It's a great way to learn. All right, so there's one more hoop to jump through. All right, just raise your hand if you're with me. Raise your hand if you're with me. Just the folks that are following along, I need you with me on this one. Otherwise, we're going to do everything twice. If you're with me, raise your hand, look at me. Feel free to not if you're just watching. Okay? So in order to proceed, we need to tell our code how to talk to these large language models. Okay? I'm going to walk you through the steps. But if you forget, or you're doing this later, okay, and you say, Dave, you know what? You were talking so fast, and I got distracted. I forgot what you were talking about. It's all here, okay? There's this link here in that GitHub page that last night opened, right? So you have to think about the back end, the Git repository, that's the back end of this, and this is the nice pretty front end. Okay, the GitHub page in the front end of this. So there's a core setup. The documentation is here. I'm going to talk you through it. You don't have to look at this, but that's where it is.
Hold on, let me understand if I understand this right, Dave. If I got a little bit lost here, I can go to the same repo I have now on my GitHub.
Yeah.
Go to each one of the entries.
Right there, wow.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
I know the answer. I'm saying it out for like every professor or professor. And go to each one of them, and each one of them has a video.
Oh, it's incredible.
Is the person in the video as good looking as you?
No, well, yes, actually, he's a lot younger than
Except
me.
for the good looking part.
And he's got a lot more hair, for sure.
That means he's not as good looking.
No, I don't know. Well, it's all debatable, I suppose.
So there's
Check him out.
all the things, including the one you're about to show us.
And incidentally, this guy's all over there's an Azure AI Discord. This guy's all over inside there answering the questions, helping people with stuff. Corey, he's brilliant. He's right on the cutting edge of this stuff. And he's doing all this content. There's an Azure AI Discord. This guy is the man for this latest, greatest AI tools. All right? So you just walk down here. So I'll come back to this when my training doesn't hurt. You can just watch these videos. You can walk you through how to do all this stuff. All right, it's really good. And there's
The problem with these tech videos is that I don't see people that look like me. Wait a minute. Right? This is a very nice group, right? It's usually people look like me. You want to see more people, more younger. I can make a video for this. It won't be as exciting and fun as this.
You can do this. You can just imagine how you want to look.
Covering the fundamentals
I don't
of
think
building
this is
AI.
Somebody is only fun.
And in this short video follows along with the written lesson.
No matter what, I don't know.
I was, so as part of playing the game, catch up with the youngsters, I mean, the guys like, they're in the early 20s, but I got an AI Discord, they're trying to catch up with all this stuff. They came out with Azure AI Foundry. I said, Corey, where's the Azure AI Foundry Discord channel? I said, oh yeah, that's right. I mean, there was there like 10 seconds later. He's responding, he's interacting with people, and he really likes to teach. So reach out to him and tell him those crazy guys from the Skill Fest event in South Florida said hi. I would love to. Maybe I'll get to meet him at the conference that comes up. There's a conference coming up in Seattle. I want to go see that. So anyway, so we've already done the fork. Okay, this is the trick that I need you guys to do in order for us to play the last step in the puzzle before you can run code. Is we need to get their personal access token. I know this is going to be a little bit of a hurdle for folks that are brand new to GitHub. All right, so I'm going to try to make this easy. I'm going to go click a couple things.
Since we're in the university, I have to do this.
Excuse me, can we pay attention, young man? Can we pay attention to what's going on in there?
I always want to do that. I'm sorry.
Thank you very much.
I'm an old man, I don't get to do that.
Thank you.
Became a teacher really late.
Everybody follow along. Yep, there's this is going to be helpful. So the idea is that in order for your code to have permission to talk to GitHub's servers and get a response from the large language model, you need to authenticate. And the way that you're going to authenticate is by passing in this personal access token, PAT. You want to get a PAT. So we have to go to our personal access token settings in our GitHub account. Oh, goodness gracious. I think I remember. I think I got to go to the developer settings. So everybody following along, because I'm about to forget how to do this. So if I click on my face in the upper right corner, whatever your login is, okay, I want you to click on that. I want you to go to settings. And what kind of settings do we want? We want the developer settings, all the way in the bottom left. They did not make this easy to find.
Oh my God.
Go over here, go down here, go over here. All right, do you feel more like a developer because you clicked on the developer settings?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, this is how your copying and pasting skills will become in great demand as a developer. We're about to copy and paste here. So we're going to click on fine-grained tokens. It's a little drop down here. You may not see it until you click this. Fine-grained tokens. I've generated some tokens. Look at me. Tokens.
So if you don't have any, you have to generate some?
You are about to generate the first PAT token. So, PAT token is that's when you say the thing twice, like ATM machine, you know, or like personal, our PIN number. I'm saying the N twice. So PAT, personal access token. So I'm generating a new token, which is basically a password in the wild. So it's going to make me authenticate. I've got that security stuff turned on. You probably don't have that doing this because you're not as paranoid as I am about your GitHub repository. But it's good to have second factor authentications on anything. There's a GitHub app that you can use as a second factor. All right, so you can call this whatever you want. It does not matter what you call it. And note that when you create this, it's going to expire in 30 days. So this is the equivalent of a password. So if you had it indefinitely and somebody got it, then they'd have access to API use. And for using Git over HTTPS, they have access to that. So you can set this for however long you want to play. You can always create another one. Okay, don't worry about making it go so long. I'm just going to call it AI agents. Doesn't matter. You're not going to ever use that name again. Okay, and notice when you scroll down, you're going to click Generate Token. This is just giving access to public repositories. It's not actually going to have anything really scary to have access to, but it's required for you to talk to the large language models. All right, so I'm going to generate a token. And you're about to copy this to your clipboard. Okay, generate token. All right. You're going to copy that to your clipboard. I'll be sure to delete this when I'm done. If anybody has access to this, if they're very clever, they're getting into my, I don't know actually what they can do right now, other than overwhelm GitHub with a bunch of LLM requests.
What repositories would
Don't
you
change
can choose
anything.
at the very top public, and don't choose individual ones. There's an option for that, saying public and just choose all of them.
Yep.
And give it one access.
That's right. So this button here is going to copy it to clipboard. If you've got an editor, you got a text editor, you want to paste it in the text editor, that's fine. I'm about to paste it right into a file. We're going to paste it into an ENV file, but I want you to get it on the clipboard first. If you're still with me, give me a hand up, and we'll give you that. Oh crap! I don't know what's happening. All right, nobody did that. All right. So you've got this on your clipboard. Back to our code, back to our repo. So notice here on the left side of your code set up here, there's an env.example. I want to, what's the easiest way to do this? Let's just rename it. Wait, no, I don't want to do this. Yeah, let's just rename it, the env.example. I want you to right click on it. And we're just going to rename it to .env. So what does that mean? This is with Python developers, what we do is we keep all of our code secrets in an environment variable. .env. I already have one, so I'm going to do that. Okay, so you're going to rename the env.example. If I was smart, I would make another copy of this, but I'm not smart. The .env file, when I run Python, it's going to go to this and get any environment variables I set. I've got a bunch of environment variables up there. We don't need all these. For my example, we're just going to do one. There's other ones you can do. There's labs, there's stuff you can do with multiple. I'm just going to keep it simple here today. So you rename this to .env. Okay. And I want you to paste that token. It's going to be on line 8 of that file. Pasting that token into my code. So because of the .env file, if I save this to my repository, it's going to be ignored. It's going to say, oh, that's a sensitive file. I'm not going to put that in the public repository. So whatever's on your screen or whoever's watching your stuff live on YouTube right now gets access to your stuff. I'll delete these when I'm done, unless I forget and get in trouble with GitHub. But by pasting that here, and then make sure that you don't have those 3 dots. There's 3 dots in here. Get rid of the 3 dots. Don't have if you have even one character wrong, it's not going to work. Okay? So you're pasting that token inside of the quotes. Paste and save. Control S is the save button. Okay? You can also go up to the little hamburger menu here, go to File, and choose Save, but it's a shortcut, Control S. So if you've saved your PAT token, raise your hand. If you need help raising your PAT token, save your PAT token, raise both of your hands.
I don't want to hold the class, I need help.
Let's do it. Oh, you're having fun. Click on this generate token here. Yeah. All right. Yeah, you said it right. There you go. Oh, give it a name. So let's just call it AI. All right, and then scroll down the bottom and put generate token. Click generate, and click this little button here to copy that, and go back to your repository, go back to your code space.
Here, no,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, you go right where I want you to be. So right click on this,
environment.
you right click on it, and use the other right click, and then choose rename, and say allow for this. And then choose rename.
Is it, am I on the right place?
Perfect, yep. And then get rid of the example. This is what we call .env. Yep, and then hit enter. Now, paste what you have inside our quotes on line 8. Get rid of those 3 dots.
report. You can't send it to report. You want to put up that there's something that I'm not familiar with. You can't edit that file. He's going to deal with the notes on this file. You can't review it. Again, use those right there. And this changes to Damian. Take away the dot. Take away the dot example of the entry. Cool. All right. Yeah. Choose the code space. Paste line 8. You must be able to report. You get rid of those 3 dots.
Yeah, you have it once, so just it's even better for you because you're right.
Save that.
This is the project we're doing it for. Here's the project.
Thank you.
Very bottom, see, it says 11 images translation, looking for them like this.
No, it's still working.
That's okay. Okay, so that word goes on here. And then there was the word paste it inside of the So, developer already has a text editor. And then give it these 3 dots on these. Yeah.
It's good. Now we will change.
Who else is helping this? You guys are doing great. You haven't done this before. And like, hey guys, today we're going to learn this swim. I brought you to the Mason Tundra 10-foot wave. You're all still paddling. So, keep going. You need help.
Here.
Not really, not much of help.
So there's some detail. So we have some board here. So paste on line 8. Getting rid of the 3 dots. 3 dots. A new file. I'll save that. New file. 3 dots. 3 dashes here. File. Save that.
Find the rate.
Some people can't edit their stuff. I'm not sure why you can't edit your stuff. Over here. Control S. Rename. I would do it. File save as. Get rid of the dot example.
Like, erase the 3 dots, and then paste, and then
Sometimes it might be a function of things that are running on your computer that didn't know.
Yeah, I did, but I can't see it.
Good? All right, anybody else need help with this? You guys are doing great. You guys are thoroughly independent here.
I did control. No.
That they look at it the same.
All right. Questions while we're waiting for everybody to get caught up?
I don't want to go any further. So we're all caught up. All right. All right. I want to press for time, so I want to do.
Yeah. Who needs help?
I think
As far as the actual API keys, in the VP file, it says to go to the URL that's provided by whatever the port. However, that window is so when this gets deactivated, I wouldn't be able to.
Right. So he's saying, hey, when this interacts with my AI.com, what's going to happen? What I'm about to show you does not depend on that. And in the future, when you are ready to try this with your own Azure.ai account, there's a way to you can log into that through the portal like you already do, and to watch the video again, so I can log into that from here. There's an easy login. That's useful. So I can log in from my editor, and it says, okay, I see you've got the browser, you're already authenticated. Are you trying to log in here? Yeah, paste the code. It says, okay, go log in. And then once I'm logged in that way, then I can do those labs. I'm not doing those labs today. We just don't have enough time. I'm going to do the simple labs. All right, so everybody find, there's a set of folders here. I wanted to talk about, all these orange ones, I wanted to talk about all of these. We're going to do one of them. All right, go to code under O1, enter the AI agents. Okay, go to O1, semantic kernel, IPYNB. Does anybody know what that is? It's a notebook. That's right. What's the I stand for?
Huh?
What's the I in IP?
Interactive Python notebook.
Interactive Python notebook. So this is the way for us to interact with code and with data in so many different forms and formats. This is the way to learn and build with all sorts of technologies. If you're coming from a background you've never worked with a notebook before, think about it like a script file. You maybe have a program that you run. It's a script file, but the script file also includes documentation. The script file also can include some results from what's run. Okay, and as I scroll down through this file, I'm able to interact with this code. So this first one here is interacting with the semantic kernel just only. In the subsequent modules, they show you how to interact with the semantic kernel and this AutoGen framework and this Azure AI agent SDK. So there's 3 different coding models that Microsoft's giving you to work with these agents. Okay. Right now, I'm leaning towards semantic kernel as my favorite one to play with. It's intuitive. AutoGen is good. There's the things that you can do that you can take advantage of with the Azure AI agent you can't access with these other ones. So there's a little bit of a trade-off in picking your poison. So as you're scrolling down here, this is something you can read and understand as well as run code. So, yeah.
Can you call in magnet libraries or stuff from that?
Yeah, that's right. If you can do it in Python, you can do it in here. And incidentally, there's notebooks work with other kernels. So you can use notebooks for C#, for PowerShell. There's other languages that are supported.
You could generate a graph inline?
Yes. Yes. There's a lot you can do here. One of the samples is interacting with the AI agent, Azure AI agent. You say, hey, AI agent, I want to see a bar graph with these criteria. And it goes ahead and creates it for you. And you have a PNG file with the bar graph and result that shows up in the folder. Okay, so it's worth exploring.
But everything's kind of not connected. It's like code separate, stacked, appended, and you run it on his own until you execute the next piece, or does it run the whole thing?
It depends. You can do both. If I want to understand what's happening, I would want to kind of run it step by step.
And that's my question. Is there a command that you put into like a trace on? I don't know. What do you call it? Is there a stopper that you
a command that you put to make sure it contains doesn't go beyond where you want it to go?
You can cancel the execution. There's a stop button to cancel the execution.
You know, like a trace on blocking sometimes, like you have code.
I'm not sure about tracing.
Yeah, so debug.
A debug, yeah.
We don't have to do a breakpoints in
Base, that's the breakpoint.
It might be there's got to be a way to do breakpoints in this.
Yeah, you're right, there should be.
But yeah, for what we're doing, I'm not aware of it. So yeah, any other questions before I walk through what this code does? Actually, I'm gonna. Oh gosh. All right, give me 15 more minutes. So the first step here is we're importing these Python packages. Now you guys have not run this before, so this is going to import a set of libraries and models that we need. All right, and this load.dnv here. What the heck is all this stuff? Dave, can you explain to me what this stuff is? So what I want you to do is highlight, actually, I'm just going to highlight these first 4 lines here. Do you have like a little guy in the lower right corner? Is there like a little picture of like a little cartoon character in the lower right corner? Oh, wait a minute. Now I gotta get the chat to come up. There it is. It's up here. Yeah. I want you guys to highlight this. Highlight this. Because I totally forgot what I was doing, so I'm going to ask the computer to tell me what I'm doing. So highlight those first 4 lines. Click the little Copilot guy on the top. Where my finger is up there.
I don't think they have it because they're on the browser.
There's a free, this should be the free version. Yeah. I want you to say, what is this doing?
Yeah, it's free now.
Wow.
I'm going to put it in the chat here. Highlighting this. Over here. I click the little tab here, and then this chat opened up. I highlighted some text here. Just, what is this doing? Oh, you know what? I didn't actually, yeah.
Oh, wow.
What's it doing?
It's identifying exactly what this framework is.
Oh, yeah. All right, cool. Very cool.
This is the O1 model?
Oh, what? Ask that, sorry, ask again.
Is this the O1 model?
You can, right now it is, there's a drop down here. Pick the cheapest one for now. You're using free credits. The O3 Mini is not a bad choice if you're trying to get the most out of your free version. But you can even talk to GPT 4.1. Basically, ask the simplest model that gives you what you want. If it's not giving you what you want, and you were trying to get through programming, you're going to pick a different model. Yeah.
Yeah, what's the limitation of these? How many tokens altogether?
I do not know. There's probably a way to trace that internally to track the tokens going in and out here. If you pay them $20 a month, then you get. I haven't run into the limitation. I'm not programming all the time. So you pay $20 a month for Copilot Pro. Then they're not metering or you're not paying based on the tokens.
Yeah, I mean all these models and the models use it inside this. Some, for example, they go $20 per month.
Yeah.
So it's like whatever model provided through Azure, I can get it for $20.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, if I want more model, yeah, and you can customize this, and then there's a competition. I like GitHub Copilot because it's already there. Works with my code spaces. I mean, that was the trick. You guys don't have a lot of hoops, but just think about what we've just done here. All right, you're opening up code in a language you've never worked with before, and you're now about to interact with a large language model to run some code. And there's a large language model that's helping you understand what you're doing. I mean, it's amazing. We're in an amazing time right now. All right, so this can explain this because I'm going to run out of time and I'm not going to go explain everything to you. But basically, I'm pulling in a set of packages, so different frameworks that I can use to work with OpenAI large language model and the semantic kernel. Okay, this
this .env. That's how it's able to go and grab my GitHub token from the .env file. All right, and it actually keeps going. Here it's telling me how it's going to create the agent. So this is creating, assuming the kernel is creating a chat completion agent, a travel agent, right? So it's going to use this chat completion service and a destination plugin. So the plugin is like actions, right? So I want to give this thing some capability. In this case, it's pretty simple. This destinations plugin is just a list of, let's scroll down a little bit here. The first block of code, actually, before I go any further, I want you guys to click. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to skip that part. You know what? We're just going to run the whole thing. Up on top, there's a run all. So if it works, we're going to find out right away. If it doesn't work, we're going to find out right away. And the first time you do this, it's going to prompt you to pick a kernel. There's going to be two choices on the top, the drop-down menu. You need to pick the Python choice. There's only one Python choice. Pick that Python choice. And you're going to run all. And normally I would step through these things, and this is how I want you in the future, as you're learning, you need to kind of go step by step. Hey, what is this? What is this doing? And you ask the machine, what is this doing? And I'm going through, basically I'm loading a lot of libraries. I'm creating the client. Okay, so we're going to be working with the GitHub models. If you click on this link, don't do it, but it's documentation. It'll take you to the documentation for the GitHub models. Right? If you want to find out about the available connectors, so we're connecting to the OpenAI chat completion connector in the semantic kernel. There's lots of connectors. Okay? I want to find out. I can go to the link. I can go to the documentation, find out about those connectors. Don't do it. At least not right now. Right? So they're kind of simulating a destinations plugin. So this might be, in reality, this might be a database. You can kind of look up. It's going to come back with a list of destinations we can go to. Ooh, Cairo is there. Go to Egypt. And we are going to tell it, we're going to create a function. So hover your mouse over anything that you're going to understand what it is. Right? In this case, it's a decorator. It's a way for me to extend the functionality of my agent by adding this as I think it's adding this as a plugin. So I'm able to have it call this function and get back a random destination. Okay. So it's going to return that destination. So we've just defined that function, provides that random destination. You click run all, so everything should have a green check mark. Okay, we ran this code already. Right? If it didn't run, if there's a syntax error, if you don't have a green check mark, if you've got a red X, raise your hand. Anybody got any red X's? Right? So code's grabbing the GitHub token that we put in there. So if there's a typo or you don't have a GitHub token, this might blow up. Right? So it has all the pieces that it needs. It's creating an agent. I'm going to minimize this a little bit. Minimizing this. Right? So this is chat completion agent. We're defining this agent. Service that is using the chat completion service. Here's the plugins. Here's the actions, the things that we're teaching you how to do. Hey, notice how to go and look up a set of destinations, pick a random destination. It has a name. It has instructions. This is the system prompt. That system prompt from before. Okay, this is how I'm programming this thing. This is how I'm telling you what to do. You're a helpful travel agent that can help plan vacations for customers at random destinations. All right, and then we run the agent. Okay. And I am not native to Python. I'm doing a lot of copying and pasting. I've got programming background and other things, but every once in a while, if I see some code I don't understand, you can highlight some code you don't understand and just ask, hey, what's this doing? This code doing? And I actually think there's more than one way to do this. I can do a right click. You can also highlight code and then right click and say, hey, explain this. This is the way that you are going to learn. Everything that you learn about coding. Right? And things you can't figure out this way, then you ask the human. This is the way that you're going to learn how to code. We haven't even got to the point where you talk to the machine and it writes the code for you. That's another class. Vibe coding. It's coming. So this is going to be, it's going to take the input. So instead of me typing it and the agent in the code here, I'm telling it what the input is. I'm not typing it, I'm just putting it in my code. Defining the user input. And it's going to iterate over the inputs that it has. In which cases there should be 1. And then it's going to invoke a stream with the agent. It's going to pass in that user input, and it's coming back with the response, and it's printing the response. All right? So it had that input that was defined, and then here's the response it came back with. And it picked from my random list there. It came back with OBOTPN, and it came back with these results. Okay? If you're following along with me, that last code block gives back this result. I can run that code block again. It should pick a different destination. Okay, again, I run the individual code blocks by looking for the button here, or I can do Control Enter in the screen to run it without the mouse. Okay. I picked Cape Town, South Africa. Let's do Control Enter. And there again, let me see what it looks like. It picked Cairo, Egypt. Let's go to the pyramids. Let's go to the Solar Boat Museum. So you are now on your way. You're now on your way to learning how to code Python and large language models. There's a lot more I can show you. I want to show it all to you. I want to give Ray how many of you would show up for a whole day of playing just this? If you require us to pull something like that off. Okay.
Yeah.
How many would rather just talk to the machine and have it do what you want instead of learning the program?
Ooh.
You mean like in Starter?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, give it a couple years.
Can I recap something?
Yeah.
All right, so what did you guys just see? Right? Early in the morning, we saw a graphical approach to building agents. In the afternoon, you saw this way more programmatic way of building agents. Right? You saw the code of Python, a bunch of Python snippets of code that actually allowed you to go into the AI Foundry world and call those agents, put them together, use some of the agents as plugins, put them together, call one agent, that calls another agent, they get some output. Right? Because that's what this code basically does. Semantic kind of allows you to make multiple calls to multiple agents. And what Dave just showed us was not only can you use this Jupyter notebook to kind of put together these agents, but there's also the GitHub Copilot piece inside of here that allows you to ask questions about the thing that you just coded. Right? So he mentioned something under his breath, Dave did, about, okay, well, it's coming, this thing called vibe coding. How many people have heard of vibe coding? Okay. Well, it's definitely coming. It might even be coming with our next presenter.
But first, I think do we want to take a little break?
Yes.
That was beautiful, man. That's a fantastic. So,
Yes, thank you, guys.
can you check it in? Because I can continue with that, or can we do something?
Oh, yeah, I can leave it. That's good.
So what we do is we invite you for a little break. Why don't we take a 15-minute break and be back here at 3 o'clock? Right now what we have is, if you ever had...
That's right.
What? No, we have little tiny copies with little tiny things. So if I hold this up...
Coffee shop.
It's not a coffee shop. Well, yeah, it is. Cuban special. And when you have the little tiny shots, little tiny coffees, you pour into little tiny shots. This usually looks like it's milk.
Check it out.
It's not milk, it's coffee and a lot of sugar. Right, so to keep you awake for the afternoon class, you're welcome to come on over and try some. There's also pastelitos, right? So, yes, please. Kind of try some, not lots. So take one, not too many. Definitely try it, my friend. Thank you for that. Let's be back to 3 o'clock.
Or maybe it's there, then becomes an orchestrator of all the meetings. Yes. Because somebody has to be on it. Somebody has to be in the right.
Yes, so.
Once you code it.
Yes, so.
Like orchestra on the open stack.
So you could do it programmatically. So I hear, this is where it talks about the multi-agent design pattern, right? And basically, so you might have a concierge that the question comes into the concierge, and then it delegates out back and forth until you get these different results, right? So the group chat manager, here comes a question. Hey, let's give it to this guy. You know what?
Under what tab was it you had it?
This is the step 6. This is the multi-agent design.
Multi-agent design. Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Fantastic, Dave. How long did it take you? How long did it take you to get all this in your head? A year, 2 years? How long have you been working on this? With
this particular thing, a month and a half. I've been playing with it since it came out.
As your foundry and all that.
So we're trying to figure out.
I'm just playing with it all the time. A lot of times I get myself in a situation where I'll sign up to teach a class, and then, okay, I've got 2 weeks to get ready to teach that class.
When did you get your toe in the water first?
When did I first get my toe in the water with this? When GPT 3.5 came out. When that announcement was November 2003 or something. I think that's when I got it.
No, I'm talking about automating with agents.
With agent? This is a month and a half.
That's all?
A month and a half. I'm just running other people's code. I'm not writing. I haven't written anything down.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. I'm just learning what is on the menu, and then you explain it. I'm not reading anything.
Which one you grab onto. But some of this is you have that. Yeah. So whatever you want to do.
No, I'll help you for sure do everything.
And then just serve that document.
environment, public somebody else, so they're going to be refreshing. And you're going to it's going to kind of give you the agenda automatically. You have to think about it. Figure out what they want to do. Yeah. That's right. And your job is a scribe. Remember, like the old days, the young way knew how to write. So the king didn't know how to write. There'd be a guy that come around who would write for the king, right? So we're the scribes to the people in AI. Like, okay, you're trying to tell me, hey, what do you want to know about AI? So we're kind of that bridge between the AI and the This is going to help so much. Fixing up what going to college and things on the right. That's not what this is. Right? I've actually exposed my password to the rest of the world, so I'm going to go delete it. So let me go back to settings, and I'm going to delete my PAT token. For settings.
So I can redo the same thing again.
Yeah, and you're going to do this. It happens. You just get used to doing it again. Hey, create a temporary password for me, and then get rid of it. Actually, I'm keeping that one. So that way, because it's a password. So it gives somebody access to your code. So yeah. So but if you lose it or whatever, you forget it, you just delete it, create a new one, and just copy paste the new one into your code, and you're good. I forgot to mention to everybody that we need to check in that work that we just did here with your ENV file. I forgot to tell people about checking in. Maybe I'll ask Derek. I'll ask Damian to mention.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for taking the time to explain it.
It's a pleasure, dude. It's absolutely, and I'm serious. Follow up with us. We all over stuff. Yeah, there's a thing that happens whenever everybody gets excited with this. And a lot of people are learning. Instead of 3 people, it's 30 people, or 300 people. Now we're helping each other to do this. Yeah, that's where this is going.
Thank you so much. Everybody who's on it.
Next time. Okay, let's pull up a chair. So you're gonna.
I just wanted to educate them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And help them so that they can help us.
Sure. So yeah, I would say let's start a fresh conversation. I have established medical malpractice
It's my
expert
career, really.
that
Practice career.
needs a learning path for using AI and LLMs to be of service to doctors.
So that they
How
can always help us.
can I
Patients.
guide his first day, week, and month of learning? All right, so goal: help them to leverage AI and large language models, support doctors ethically, intelligently, and effectively. Here's the overall objective. Here's the learning path overview. All right, so then it's giving you this list here. So what I can do is, I don't know if this is good. I'm just actually just trying it out. But I can do two things here. Like right now, I can take that conversation, and I'm just going to send you an email right now. And this is kind of a reminder to talk. And I don't know if it's a good answer or not. So it's a chat GPT thread. Right. And what's your email address?
CHETTYUSA@gmail.com. CHETTY, Chetty, that's my name.
Came up there.
Yeah.
Right. So it comes up with this. So I'll send this, but I can also, so just from now, just imagine that every moment you have of your, you would be reading, you would be entertaining, whatever it is, you have a new hobby of this. Where did my email go? You're learning now. And I'm recording my email on this thing. So anyway, yeah. So that's where I would start. And like I use this here to set up for the AI community for. I'm used this to do the preparation, thinking about like how do we get the AI community off the ground. So I've started a lot of different conversations here. So I just kicked that off for you. All right, let me get out of the way so this gentleman can get in and get ready.
No, just go sit down.
I did not mention that they should check in that one piece of code. Although the code space will come back up, they won't. There's no real loss of anything. But
The ENV file.
Yeah.
I'll mention that.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't think about that.
We're fine.
So this is like the next one. So
you make it first, you don't have to make it working out.
I'm going to be learning if you're working at ready for people to play with.
So that's why we need to So, like they did a game, like to teach people how to fly.
Yeah.
Well, because it's loud.
It's coming, it's coming. I'm trying to get rid of this. Hold on.
Now
Ah, ya. No me deja, no me deja.
Can you imagine someone just arrived and says, what are they doing? It's a big workshop. Are we like That's what she learned.
It's just like that.
So she doesn't. And it's similar to this room. So
So like they got more probably at it and then maybe like I started at 15 years old.
Get your stuff. Let's get ready. Let's get ready to rumble. Yes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for Act 3? So, is someone said that if I use, don't use the microphone, you hear an echo. Is that true? Yes? I'll turn it on now. So, I'm now putting it on. Is it even make a difference? I don't know. I think loud. Is that worse? The back. Close to you. Okay, everybody use this. Oh, I got it. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you were excited when you saw the lights, it's because you wanted to change the way you work. You wanted something exciting to do. If you saw, one of the things that we did with Dave was we got into models and we got into your own models. And we had an unbelievable question here from the front. What does it mean? So, what did it mean that I was using a model from AI Foundry or AI.azure.com? What does it mean? Like, is it ChatGPT? Is it ChatGPT faster? Is ChatGPT better? Is it a better model? What do you guys think? Tell me, what do you think? You know the answer, you're not allowed to answer.
Depends.
Well, you can answer. Depends on what? Depends. Can you tell them version of my own that's sitting there. I think we used one from GitHub. So now we're using the model that GitHub provided. We saw, I don't know if you guys went to, please give me at the very end. I had to step away, so that's our phone call. Did you guys get help? I'm going to go. In a minute, we're going to start with session 3. Session 3 is where Damian Montero is at. It's at the AISkillsFest.com. If you follow along with this link right here by clicking on local LM and vibe coding, if you click it, I have a special page for you. That page will have a lot of things I'll open up independently because of the fact that I'm doing speaking on different things. But I need your help. I wasn't able to pay attention to it. So with your help, I'm going to make cloud. I don't want to start from scratch. So I'm going to go to David's website, github.com, and I happen to know Dave's name. Dave-007. Not important that you remember that. I'm just sharing with you that's the case. Then I'm going to go to his repo. Let's go ahead and go to repo. And this gives me a list chronologically of what he's last touched, not what he's created. Because maybe he started creating this like 2 years ago. But what he's last touched. The top one is the one you were all working on. That might have been the same one that you have if you go to the URL at the very top. Do I have Zoom It? I don't have Zoom It installed. This is a brand new laptop. I forgot to install some things I didn't do. But at the very top, I can see the words github.com/dave007-UG-AI-skillfest. You might find that the same one is yours, which is the word with your name on it. So, I'm caught up. I have if he's checked it in, well, let's talk about that. Some of you have gone in here. I'm going to do the same. I don't know if I can do that with this code. I guess I can't really check it in, but I can follow here. I clicked on the green button. I went to code spaces because I don't have one available on my computer because I wasn't following along. Don't tell Dave. I need a green button. You had the existing kind of 2 funny names at random that GitHub got for you. So I'm going to click on that. I get a new tab, so I can go back to my last tab. A computer is turned on in the GitHub server places. The terminal of that computer gets turned on, and the environment will be set up in a couple of seconds over here. Over here, as we well know, we're going to have a list of all the different files, and I'm going to be able to see precisely what he did. I'm not going to be able to do kind of an analysis to say, well, what did he actually change? But if I were to continue that work, I could do that by saying, okay, well, let me just fork his version. So you can imagine we fork the official Microsoft version to create yours and Dave's version. I'm going to fork Dave's version to continue on, should I want to continue on to what I'm doing. And one of the things that I'll do is I'll kind of do that. So, oops. That was a completely wrong one. So everything I said was for nothing. That was not the same project, right? Which project did he fork?
I think it was the one lower.
The one lower. So when I said ignore this one, it was this one? Oh, very good. Mr. Dave forgot to check in. So I'm going to do that so we can understand what's going on there. When I click one more time on the same thing, I have an ability to once more create a repo that's related, an environment. Here's the terminal of the environment where I do run command lines like Python and npm and other things that I'm used to, .NET. Here's going to be the files. And if he's checked it in, then I can see the changes he's made. So if you don't know really, GitHub is there. I'm going to mansplain to those of you who know. And if you don't know what mansplaining is, when a man explains something to another man incorrectly. A little meta there. Okay, there's a reason why under my name it says comedian and not developer. So, I have the project, I can look at what's going on, I can see if that he's made, for example, 20 changes. I can't see that he's made 20 changes, but the 20 changes are there if he's, I'm using the word checked it in, pushed it back to a very old term, so please excuse me, pushed it back into the repo. So he had it looked like we were still on GitHub, but he was working kind of on a computer that he was remotely controlling, as I am, on Microsoft or GitHub servers, okay? So when you were on this page, it looked like this. kind of with the icons here on the left-hand side, with the list of the files. You'll see them in a second, with the word terminal at the very bottom. When you were doing this, you were actually on a computer. While we were looking at this simply represented the files as they are. So this is you working on something, this is the files as they are, and if he had made the change, he would have pushed those changes up, and he would have seen some of the changes in there, right? So I know he was working on specifically 01. Did you guys go into 01?
Yes.
Great. So I'm going to go into 01, open up the code samples, open up the interactive Python notebook. It's going to come up here. And we talked about that each one of those code sections can be run independently with a play button that appears here if you hover over it. Or can we run all of them, each and every single section, by clicking on Run All, if that's at all beneficial or interesting. Usually it's not. Usually there's a reason why we kind of segment the code. Now, I'm going to need your help. I'm going to go ahead and click on this button right here, the little X. I'm going to do that. It hides the terminal. It does not stop anything running on the terminal. You don't have anything running anyways, but it hides it and puts it away so I can easily talk about it. We talked about the icon at the very top right corner. You all had it. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same. For us to be able to talk about it easier, I'm going to click on the full screen. I'm not changing the program. I'm simply kind of zooming in, if it will, to the actual page I'm in, so there's no distractions there. I can run this, and it's going to ask me some questions, but only the first time. It's just saying, listen, do you want to do anything fancy, or do you just want to use the regular Python, the regular interpreter, the regular language that's in here? As was repeated by Dave, you can do this in Python, and you can also code here in Java, or JavaScript, or C#, or most other languages. You can't, but you have to choose that. You see the top right corner that says Python. I've chosen to be in a Python environment, so the stuff inside here has to be Python. So, now I need your help. What did he run? Did he run all of them? Did he run a couple of different ones? He ran them all? Okay, but first he changed this change over here, right? So let me go ahead and make that. I'm gonna. He changed this one. Yep. I'm going to change to .env, and then he changed this. He made sure there's a quote at the end, quote at the beginning. Then he got the comment. Whoops, is that what I wanted to showcase? That's a little later. He went and got a new one. So please excuse me as I quickly do it. I'm going to go to my repo. I'm going to go to my page. I'm going to go to settings. Where is settings? It's almost like I need my glasses. I have them right there. That's why they're sitting there. Personal, fine-grained. I didn't have it I didn't keep it, so I don't have it for a new one. No problem. Just generate a new one. Just like with David, I need to authorize. So just bear with me here. Just want to catch up with what you are doing, because there you will see there is a what is it? Sanity to my madness. What's the saying? Methodology to my madness. I don't speak English very good. So as you can tell from my accent, I'm not from this country. So, AI tokens we called it. Something here he said to put. Then he said like that. Clicked on generate. You guys have all done this. I did not catch up. Came over here and I pasted it here, saved it, and it came in here. And you said he ran, do you remember if there was a really an impressive one that he ran?
Which you run out because the code is set up to kind of use different samples randomly, so you can see the output at the bottom.
Excellent. We want to do one particular one. So I ran up this kind of environment, like sets it all up. I'm clicking on it. Each time I run, just for later discussion, there's a little tiny number that comes up here. And that kind of says that it's run and in the order of this. So usually you can think of it, and most programs from when I was a kid, they would run from the top to the bottom. This, they run sections at a time. So I can run this section, and the last section, and come back to the second section, and it'll be 1, 2, 3. It's a little bit weird, but just something to be aware of. Then I think we ran this one, and because I have the environment variable, I'm gonna see below it, see if there's some kind of like code, create an agent, come over here, and we were getting something, and we were getting back something back here. Does it look right? Okay. What I'd like to do in this session is two things. One, rate code. I'm in the Tiger team at the place I work at. And the place I work at has a guy that was elected this little while. So my job in there is to make sure the code is safe and secure. So we're not going to really break things. We're not going to do security things. That was just simply a joke. What I want to do is, that's interesting. So we can go and more or less see what's going on in here. Then we're making some choices. Which agent we're doing. Okay, that's cool. We have a completion agent. We have a chat agent. This is what's interesting to me. We were defining here what specifically, how we would pull from and from where. We had a whole 20 minutes conversation about AI Foundry, but we pulled from GitHub. That's interesting. But what if we wanted to do something else? What if we wanted to pull directly from OpenAI? The Azure version is our own version of it. If we go to the Foundry, it is our own special version. Now we'll talk about why it's not necessarily very private, but it's semi-private. As in nobody else is interacting with it. Like you have a single container. There's a couple of GPUs that cost $40,000 each that get given to you for a couple of seconds when these things get run. And if you go over certain limits, it will go over. And we'll talk about prices later. I just want to showcase something. And they showcase this. I'm like, yeah, this is cool, but you know what I'd like? Let me just take a sneak peek here. You don't have to follow me here, but you can follow this link, DamianMontero.com/local. I'm going to do that. I get a new page. I'm going to sort of jump a little bit. You'll see why in a second. You talked about it earlier, and you had some questions about it. The cost. Well, Gemini has kind of released something recently that is pretty impressive. You might have seen news all over the place about this particular AI is impressive. No, this particular AI is impressive. No, the Chinese came up with an AI that's impressive. No, Meta, Facebook, came up with one that's impressive. No, whoa. And Google says, we have a good one, but we want to put your jaw on the floor. We'll do it at 10 times the cost. And right now, it's free. Okay? Let's see if that's true. In this link, along with all the other things we're going to talk about tonight, we have some list of costs. So I have Azure Foundry, the first thing we talked about, ai.azure.com. We have GPT Unfitter. By the way, I was trying to add these links, and the kind of AI that helped me, I have it turned on, and it suggested that. I don't know what it is, but it's there. Cool. We'll talk about that. Let's see the OpenAI prices. And I'm going to go into, in a second, something called Google Gemini and Grok. Let's go OpenAI. I'm opening it. And we talked about this a little bit with Dave, but we went kind of quickly through it. Well, it's not that bad. How many does it cost per million tokens? Anybody remember what any of the prices he showed you before? Not what I'm showing you here. Any of the prices he showed you. What was the price you remember?
It's 75
for how many?
For a million tokens.
$75 for a million tokens. That's what it is. It's not bad. Or is it? I don't know. Right? How many times have I done a million tokens? He was showing us at the very bottom of the total, and as he was searching it was both the tokens going in, when he was typing, and the tokens coming out, what was really being read.
So he said, did he say $5 for the tokens that we're using today?
You guys are not going to be charged anything. The tokens why you should be paying for those tokens.
Right, he said about $5.
I don't know how much you guys and all that, especially with all you guys funding. I saw you guys like,
I thought he said $5.
there was. There's all sorts of different prices. And I think you were right. I saw 15, you saw 75. This one says OpenAI. Now, we heard OpenAI, but it was OpenAI inside Microsoft. We won't go into It was the OpenAI model. The amazing thing OpenAI did, living inside the Microsoft servers. They were actual physical Microsoft servers. The guys who type this and ladies that type the screws have Microsoft badge on them. Because they're in Microsoft. Forget about the connection to Microsoft and OpenAI. There's a connection. But I want you to understand that those were servers there. What we're looking at here is the exact same model, and now it's sitting inside OpenAI. Now let's forget where OpenAI servers are, don't confuse things, but they're, let's pretend they were Microsoft, they were not Microsoft, they're OpenAI IDs that they're holding because they're in their servers. So the cost might be different. We're seeing $4.4 million, $4.4 per million tokens coming towards us, which is usually the largest, and usually just people who pull back. And $1.1 million, $1.1 per million tokens going in. And it is pennies. We will typically never even reach 10,000. But, you know what I mean? It's just something to be aware of. Okay. That sounds like a different price. Then we see Google. So, jumped up ways. $3. Okay. 0.6 cents, not thinking. Let's forget about that. That's the real thing. That's the one we use. 60 cents. The other we heard $75. I think I saw 15. You saw 5. This is 30 cents. So I'm convinced. Let's do it. Right? So we're going to start Googling. I'm an old man. I'm going to go to Google, I'm going to go to Bing. I'm going to Bing with Google, Google Bing. And then eventually, I'm going to find out how I could, no, that's too much. My daughter is 14. She showed me something. What did she show me? She went over here. She highlighted this. She pressed on this button. And she asked Copilot to change it. I want to connect. This is the line that connects. This is the line where I say, hey, I want you to connect with this. I want it to change. Now, Dave went over here and asked questions, right, Dave? We didn't change code for this. And what we did is we made a little choice over there. And unfortunately, like I said, I don't zoom in and sculpt, so I can't show it to you. But if you follow me with your own code on your own repo, in that tab that you maybe have already opened, highlight not this kind of section just above creating the agents. We'll do this together. We're going to highlight just this section here. We can probably highlight the whole thing. We don't need to. Actually, we should. I just realized we probably do. Let's highlight the whole thing. And we're going to do more than just ask. We can ask, hey Google, I heard Gemini is fantastic. See, right? Get the right. Gemini and AI, charging us per token. Let's get to the I want to change this to connect to Gemini. Right? And it's going to give me an answer. But if I come down to the very bottom, I know it's hard to see on the very bottom there, and I click on it and I choose agent, now it has the right, and I give it the right. That's what I did when I chose agent, to edit my code. It still didn't understand that I highlighted this, but if I didn't, it knows the whole context. It knows the whole product. But because I highlighted this, which is what I'm going to do. Let's see this. I'm going to ask. I'd like you to change the line so that the client connects to the client variable connects to Gemini 2.5 flash using key 123. What I've typed there is as explicit as possible. I wanted to change the line, even though I highlighted the line. I've said specifically the key I want to, and the reason why is, the model Gemini 2.5 flash has a specific name like 03 mini or 03 or 04 nano. And I said, using key 1, 2, 3. This is my little trick. I could definitely go and get the key, just like we got the token key from GitHub, or we could have gone into the AI Foundry, the ai.azure.com, and gotten the official API key. I'll get it later. But if I say 1, 2, 3, 4, he's not going to complain. I'm giving it a pronoun, right? They are not going to complain. It's not going to complain. So, ChatGPT, which is what, Copilot, which is what's interacting here, it says right over there, is going to go and say, fine, your key is 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just going to put it in there. The reason why is because maybe I don't want to. That's personal choice. It's just who I am. I want to share the action key. I could find the key and we'll do that together. But we'll see what it does. Problem with demos is it sometimes doesn't work. The problem with AI demos is 50% of the time it doesn't work. 50% of the time it works, and you don't know which thing you got. All right. Old joke, new things. Did it do it? No. What happened?
Does it show?
Oh, it's sneaky.
Apple? Does it show the difference Apple?
Great question. It will. If we do the regular. Did you see this presentation before? Is that what it is? Am I boring you? Is this too much? You're exactly right. And it's exactly what she says. What's in red is what the code is telling us it's going to remove. And what's in green is it's telling us what it's going to replace it with. Fantastic. It's exactly what you said. So it wants us to make decisions. There are ways, I don't know how to do it in this way, especially when it's online, you can just go for it. I can look at the code, I know what's my code, and so I'll know the difference, right? Just make the change. Besides, somewhere else, right here, in this little icon there with the 2, it also is keeping track of differences. So I'll also be able to tell with data whether something's changed. But this is important. And then, you know what? I like this. It says there's going to be something like that, and it's absolutely wrong. Wow, that's completely wrong. Bad example. But in normal situations, you would know exactly what to do. That's not the right answer. But you can see where it actually helped us do it. This question.
I noticed it says in Gemini, but it's also in the Azure, so.
That's what the problem
is. Is it the same? It's not the same.
But it's not the same. It's not the same. Now, just to be fair, you know, we were on here. It's the Azure tokens, and Azure has a lot. We didn't investigate a lot into that, but you kind of maybe saw that it had a lot of things, and it has things up, like it has all the stuff from OpenAI. OpenAI released 4.5 2 days ago, maybe 3 days ago. It's already here. OpenAI and Microsoft are 2 different companies, but it's already here. And most of the time, there's a kind of company that, you know, also does things that'll be a little bit late. So it's not crazy that it thought it was here. It should have known that it isn't. But for example, the Azure AI is a completely separate company than OpenAI. So they do have Meta models. So if you've heard Meta, Lambda, and you're like, I'd like to try that, because I heard this, that, and the other, but it costs low. You can try it on Azure. If you want to try DeepSeek, they're very famous. Somebody who came to my local LLM presentation, it was this model that was very disruptive. It was on CNBC. My wife is a stock partial broker, and so she was like, I'm gonna hold my head up like you did, and I'm like, because we have it in there. You know, so she was freaked out because the news was this DeepSeek, Chinese model was going there. Well, it was there. We'll talk about what does that mean in a second. But what I was trying to do here, and it didn't really work out, is that we should be able to ask it, and in most situations, it'll give us the right answer. Now, we could play all day, and I could get some insights from the 2 experts in the back saying, hey, what did I say wrong in my model? Right? What did I say wrong? I don't want to use, you know what I mean? And I can have that interaction. Actually, this is good. This is a chatbot. This is AI. But it is also that great, fantastic, but autistic friend of yours that will do everything you say exactly like you say it and knows everything. So maybe I didn't specify, but this AI can have a conversation with me. So I can come in here and say, yep, keep it. Well, I didn't mean that Gemini 2.5 Flash was in Azure. I meant I want you to connect to Google's Gemini OpenAI API endpoint and use that. This is key with AI. There is a conversation you should have. When you went to that expert in whatever field you feel that you went an expert on, and you asked that person more details, you had a conversation. They didn't just give you an answer and you walked away saying, that's not going to work. Well, great. You had a conversation. You were like, you went back to that person. You said, what's going on? So then they corrected themselves. This is, I think, the right URL. So we're going to keep that. I'm going to cheat. This is the actual line it should have given me. And actually, it looks like it did it just fine. Oh, I'm sorry, this is the Grok one. I think I have somewhere there. It should have given me something that looks like that. OpenAI has defined a API endpoint for all LLMs ever. So whenever we interact with a particular LLM through an API, we interact with the OpenAI way. So what I did is I said I expected it to figure out that link at the very top as far as Google API, Gemini links. So I cheated, I looked it up, I found it on Google's documentation, and I can go ahead and use that. Whoops, I can use that one, the one up here. Whoop. Well, actually, you know what? Let's try it. Have you guys all gotten the same? You might have to type. You'll notice that all the thing that's really changed was the base URL, and then this kind of a link that looks like this. And we'll try it, that's the right one. And you'll need an API key. So let's make sure you get into this. Most likely, in your section, just before, above the creating the agent, you will have a section that looks like this, exactly like this. You'll notice your two lines look different. It has something to do with, GitHub. It says up here, GitHub token, and then that down here, it might have the base URL, or it might have something else. Go ahead and change it to https://gemini.googleapis.com/v1/ just like I have it here. Take a picture of it, because I'm about to move on with this. Everybody got? Yep, take a picture.
Can we take one of these as well?
Yes, please. You want to do that? So, next we just gotta Google it, right? Sorry, I'm old-fashioned. Google Gemini API key. There we go, try that. And it's in the API, in the AI Studio, so that's the right place. Okay, I'm going to go to the AI Studio. You can find me at you can follow me, aistudio.google.com. If you have a Gmail account, you automatically have a login there, and you'll come in there. I think you have to make a project, so if you don't have something, we'll figure something out. I'll figure out how we can share that information. Okay, the very top right. Has anybody ever gone to aistudio.google.com? Does it look similar to mine? Or does that have you log in or? Similar, perfect. Okay. So you're able to log in? Okay. I'm going to click on Get API Key in the top right corner. Get API Key. Look at that. These guys actually want me to use more code. I think they're going to do Get API Key. They even give me some code behind it. If you get any kind of error, I think you have to be at Google, you have to have a setup with projects and all that, so I'm not too sure if you guys will be able to do it.
This is separate of GCP as well. This is separate.
So I think there's a connection with GCP. So GCP is Google Cloud Provider, and Azure, I think it is. I'm not too sure. That's what I'm saying. You might need a Google account for it. If you came in here, you might not have what's on the very bottom, and you might have a key here that says Create API Key. Yeah, I have to choose a particular project. So this has to do with sort of, I don't know if there's a way, I know this is kind of, the ai.azure.com, the equivalent is aistudio.google.com, right? So when we do all the things, when we do different models, you can play with the same similar playground. It's much more stripped down, a little bit more friendly or more basic, you can call it that. But that's the equivalent, that's where I'm at. If you happen to have already, if you have to have ever pushed a Firebase project for your boot camp or anything like that, you might already have a list of projects and then please be able to choose one of those. Don't worry if you don't. Go ahead.
Does it say try Gemini or get API key?
Try get API key. See if you can do that, or because it got getting a. If not, it's not a big deal. What I want you is to all show and kind of showcase that I was able to sort of make a change and make it with vibe coding. So we'll play with that first. Has anybody been able to follow along, or I'm kind of like choosing to create API key? I think it was like get API key at the very top. If you've got a window that looks like this, you've got the option to get API key over there. If you have some projects already, I think you may have asked you the project, and then we got the API key, and I'm about to copy it here. Again, if you don't, it's not a big deal. Part of the presentation is more choosing or seeing that it changes. So what you have from Dave, you know, it should be plenty enough. This is us seeing that we can say, what if we want to go to the competitors? Dwight brought this up, and I think Dave as well brought this up. There is chances that you don't have to always come up with the latest model, right? I think Dwight brought it up that the last year's model, by last year, you probably mean last week's, right? That's how fast AI is working. Usually costs less. So it's not that important at our level, because a lot of these times, and I'll try to showcase that because I think in this studio we can see, a lot of the models, especially the newest ones, are free. See if I can recreate that. I'm going to copy that. Go back to my code, paste it as a key, and run it. I'd seem to be happy. Let me run it again. You won't really see if it's working or not until we kind of see this part that's coming up here, and I'm getting an error. Okay. I've seen a lot of presentations, especially with Google, where they get an error on purpose and they showcase it. This is not. But I have another place to do this. We'll do it in the other place. What I want to showcase is that we can connect to Gemini, and then we can connect to Azure, and then we can connect to OpenAI. And we have other options to connect to. One of the ones I want to showcase that is one called Grok. Now, if you think you know what Grok is, it's a different Grok. Grok with a K, is XA. This is an unusually amazing company that they have special chips for doing something called inferences. In other words, running the AI. With a Q, they have a bunch of different models available for you. Now, it's similar, you'll see, than what's going on in the other places by what's going on in OpenAI and the AI Foundry. But I think they're much cheaper because just like Google, they have special cheap chips that running the AI, not training, which costs, it's a different kind of thing. Running, what we need to do. Hey, here's the text. I want to text that, right? That's what LLMs are. You know, figuring out the next word or the next phrase. So Grok is one of them. We call Dev Console. We also get to do the same playgrounds. Looks the same way. They all kind of do. You have a way to text. And the very top is different models that you might be saying, oh, that's different. Now, it's not that big of a difference, but they're all open source. So you may have heard the Lava one. There was big controversy because they just released it on Saturday, they were just releasing it on Monday, it was that because of what's going on, it was unusual ones. It was released by Instagram, a post by Zuckerberg on Instagram saying we released it. They showcased these unbelievable results. Turns out they may have cheated in some of the results and all that. It's a neck-to-neck race at the very end. So that you can come here and try DeepSeek from China, Q&Q from Alibaba, a very big company in China. You can try Llama 4, Llama 3.3. You can try some of the other ones. There's Gemma, which is not Gemini, Gemma, which is kind of like an open source version from Damian, freaking boring, right? You've seen this 3 times. Showed you in Gemini. I showed you in Asia. We showed it to you in GitHub. Big deal. All models. Yeah, we have a bunch of models. These are open source. Let's discover what that means. Does everybody know what open source models as opposed to closed source or copyrighted models means? You might know these. You know these. What is it?
Open source journalism policy.
We can have it anywhere. This is the key. So, for certain reasons, certain times, you want to be in control of the models. Why? I'll leave that up to you. But when I make a call, using all the code you've seen today, so far, from now until when we walked in the morning, we were calling a server that was sitting somewhere in Seattle or Virginia most likely, or North Carolina, some other place. They're not in Silicon Valley. Those little circle where Apple's at isn't running servers. They're all around us. Those, you're sending information to there and it's coming back. And for a few situations you'd be like, that's a little bit, I don't like it. Or maybe you're like, I don't like the fact that what I'm trying to do costs me a lot of money, and what I'm trying to do is pretty basic. I'm trying to figure out what the customers, or when they text in, or when they leave a review on the website, I just want the sentiment. I just want to figure out if it's a good review, a medium review, or a bad review. In other words, what are they thinking? And I really want to do it with this all 100,000 of our products on Amazon, because that's my final product for my document. Give you ideas. Are you already having a final project? So, one of the things is that we can figure out how to run them on a place that's more you. Now, one of these answers is what you did in the morning, right? The Azure Foundry, AI Foundry, has your version of OpenAI as a model. And we didn't look at it too much, but it also has all these open source models. But one of the things that we don't think about is we can run it ourselves. What I'd like for you all to follow, if you go back to the link where today's, for my part of the presentation, if you go to, you can just go to find the schedule, find my name, click on it, or just add the word vibe at the end of the skill tests. And I'm going to install this program. Now, as you click on it, LM Studio, what I'm going to do is, it's going to take a while for each one of you all to install it, to download it, please excuse me. And if we didn't get a chance, as we said at the beginning in the morning, to download it, no problem. This is your chance. Go ahead and click on that link, lmstudio.ai. Choose which version you want. Note, as always, that certain operating systems will have different versions. LM Studio for the Mac only supports M1, M2, M3, M4. Does not support the Intel. Windows does have different versions. So if you have one of the Qualcomm computers, one of the newer ones, it supports it. And if you're in Linux, only x86 is supported. Not a big deal, most boxes are Linux are doing that. So choose the right one, click on Downloads, and it's going to take a while. So, I'll do it for you guys. If I've already installed it. Okay. Has everybody started to install it? You can install it, and then once you see me use it, you can decide whether, start downloading it already on your computer. Once you see me using it, I'd like for you to decide whether you install it or not. Okay? It can take up to 20 to 30 gigabytes on your laptop. Exactly. It can be huge. We'll talk about why, but I'd love to just show it to you if you don't mind. I'm going to click on it. It starts off. And congratulations, it looks like every other thing you've ever seen before today. Maybe there's some chat on here. Go open AI. ChatGPT has that, right? Different chats on the left. We didn't see the other ones. There's no model to choose. Well, there is, but you don't see it. There's some details about temperatures and all the things. Something you may have seen in the other ones. We just saw it a second ago with Grok. We saw it with AI Studio from Gemini. But, so you're like, you installed an app, Damian, that I have a website that looks exactly the same? What's the difference? Well, I have models running on the computer alone. That means I can do this. Choose one. I'm going to choose a fast one here just for the conversation. And then come here. All you Mac people understand I went to the top. On Windows I went to the bottom. And I chose to turn off Wi-Fi. There's no Wi-Fi. How do I program an app in Python that uses Fast API? Whatever that means. I'm not a programmer, I don't know. I'm not looking back. An explosion. Didn't work. Shit, didn't work. Good, good, good. Didn't work. The Wi-Fi's off. How's it working? Try that with your Google websites. Huh? Huh? You trying to run out?
Oh, no.
Okay. Oh, you can say yes to that question. So, what's interesting about this is it's run locally. Oh, you have a question?
Can you ask it what the latest NBA scores are?
Let's see. What's the latest? What's it called? Malibu Beach Auction Scores. Is that what NBA stands for? NBA. Oh, what's latest NBA scores? Thinking. Ooh. Hey, Steven, thinking about it. But whenever you see this, if you click on it, it'll really show you what it's doing. And it's fascinating. There you go. Screw getting the things. Apparently it's figured out how Python developer. I'm going to show you how to get it from your Python. I think that's what it says. I don't even know what it's answering. What is it doing? Okay. Absolutely. So apparently he decided the only conversation I ever had with this guy is about Python, so I'm going to give him the only answer he ever wants, Python. And you know what? It's the right answer for me. And I'll be the right answer for you. So, now you brought up a point, but before I get to that point, you guys all understand, because you mentioned it in this last one. We can ask about that before we go on. I just want to showcase that it's now on my computer. I now can have a personalized conversation with this. Now, it is, by definition, and unfortunately for different reasons, a dumb model. So apparently, it didn't even understand what NBA meant. I don't know if I spelled MCP or I spelled MVP or whatever it is, but he figured out it was Python. So it's a dumb model. But there are more sophisticated models, and certain limitations means I can do it. Over there, a gentleman that looks exactly like me, but with hair. Don't ask why. These guys were happening to be around the time I was born in Argentina, but we don't go into that. So that's not my brother, even though he looks like it. I wish that was my brother, because then I would have that beautiful hair here. But over there is a very stickered out laptop. And we can all connect to it if we like, to experience what I just did. You want to join me? Come to your Wi-Fi. If you did like me and turned it off, turn it back on. And there's a Wi-Fi that says local LLM. So, try it. You don't ask you to go to a website. No software to be installed, nothing. But it's simply a conversation. Everybody switch to Wi-Fi, or just what if you see it up here, that's awesome. No problem, no problem. So let's go ahead and try it. I'm on the Wi-Fi again, and it's a regular internet. For some reason I have Wi-Fi inside here with a different router. I don't know. We won't talk about that. It's regular internet. Okay. For some reason, if I go to the following, and here, if you switch to Wi-Fi, only if you switched, you can go to Damian.rocks 3000. My nickname in college. Sometimes that joke works. That is that. Nice. Yes. Now, all of a sudden, Broward can turn off all the internet. But I can still come in here. You can try it with me. It might slow down if we all try it at the same time, and there's no problem. I would love to hear that. What's that? No, it shouldn't be. You should be an open network. It should be called local LLM. There should be no network. Oh, I apologize. Yes, this app has a username and password. Any username and password, just like the Wi-Fi works. As long as you use the same one the next time you sign in. I don't know why. I can talk about the open source project you're utilizing, and we'll talk about that in a minute. I just want you guys to see it. By the way, when I use the word you guys, because I'm an old man, I should be using yous or y'all, depending on which part of the country I'm in, right? Correct? What is the next game for the NBA? In this case, I'm using DeepSeek. We'll talk about that in a second. It's doing the same thinking as you saw it doing on my computer, but now it's not on my computer. Now it's on maybe a server we all share, but it's not the internet. And it's giving us some information. Net game. Did I spell it wrong or something? Yeah. Oh my God. Jeez. Well, apparently it decided that there is a net game, and it's coming soon. So I just want to have that conversation with all of them, right? I don't even know what it wrote there. It made up something. Damn. I'm going to bet on them next game, and it's fantastic. So that's a conversation I want you to start thinking about. That there might be an option for which LLMs locally somewhere might work out. Again, you're welcome to try it. Okay? Again, the username and password can be anything, as long as you remember that anything is tomorrow. So, like I said before, Bill Gates at Microsoft.com, he has personally told me that you can use his email address. No problem at all. And if you doubt me, ask him. Very wide array truck. And he's got this. Because there's a Bill Gates version on AI, and we listened yesterday. So that's a conversation I want you to know. You can have software, and we can go into it if you're interested, or what actually is running on that map that allows you to do this. The domain is my domain name. I usually point it at different things I'm presenting. I'm not pointing it to the IP address of that computer right now, today, in the network. That's what you saw me doing here when I wasn't paying attention. Right? When I was screaming and hollering or swearing under my breath, that's what I was doing. So, you're welcome to try it yourself. It's HTTP, as you can see, it's not secure, so there's no GPS. Anybody have any questions about that? Gives me a chance to drink. Oh, brand new bottle. I like it. What's the saying? If everybody is stunned and speechless, it's either a fantastic presentation or nobody understood. Both of them, good results.
What would it respond if you asked it a prompt for some information that was more recent than its cutoff training?
Wow, that's pretty good. That's what Dwight was trying to bring up with exactly what you said. LLMs, anybody know the book, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? So, it's an old book, meant for old people, and the same picture is that, yeah, see, the person has a little device, it's very revolutionary, I think it was in the 70s or 80s, where you can carry it everywhere and it has all the answers. Now, Wikipedia was literally based on that idea. Device with all the information, and you guys might not be this old, but I remember at one time, early on in Wikipedia's history, where they would literally copy a version, put it in a thumb in an SD card, and put it in this goofy BlackBerry little keyboard on the very bottom, screen at the very top version, so you had a version of Wikipedia. And Wikipedia was, of course, not online. So it was Wikipedia without the images, just the text, so it all fit in a small computer that you can carry around some 10, 15 years ago. You can still do that? You can still do that, right? And what you get, if you don't have internet, is a copy of the world's information in one. And Alum is exactly that. But it isn't just the article of Wikipedia. By the way, the first GPT was programmed on two things. One, Wikipedia. Well, that's publicly available. And two, every book out there. Yeah, every book out there. You can Google, or I guess ChatGPT, what book 3 is. Book 3 is a collection of every book up to a particular date. 2014, when they first started this. Right? 13, I don't remember what it was.
Regardless of copyright.
Regardless of copyright, exactly. So, that's what this book is in. So if we were to choose to think about that, we could have a conversation that has every single thing of those two things there, and we might be okay. You have a question? Yes?
How do you update it, or how often?
That's what we're talking about. So I just want to lay it all out here. When we have this, we have a model of the world snapshot. You know what I mean? Like these people that lose their like immediate memory, and they remember everything up to a point. My grandmother died at the year 100. A year before, she was just fine, enjoying herself, walking with a walker. She would forget to walk. She was like, I don't need this. You know, sick word, so I got the attitude. So she was a revolutionary woman. So it's very, very revolutionary. So she would leave it behind, and you can imagine that you can describe that you can remember from the backwards, which certain movies, what is it called, 50 First Dates, where the person remembers from that day backwards, but nothing forward. How you achieve that goal, we've heard it from Dwight, I think we've heard it again from Dave, it's agents. So to specifically get the question that Dwight brought up, what is the next game, or what was the score of last night? Well, the outline has no idea about it. And if you ask it without having any kind of connection to the real world, it's going to hallucinate the question, the answer. An LLM must always, ways around this, must always answer you. So you've met people like this. Usually it's men, and they don't hear you. But when you ask the question, even if you know they have no clue of what you're saying, they'll give you an answer. And if you check, those answers might be wrong. I'm not one of those men. I know what I'm doing. No. But there are people, and LLMs are that way. They will need to answer your question. Now, there's a way to properly create a prompt that it will tell you, I don't have the answer. But to solve that problem, all it takes us 3 months. DeepSeek, the Chinese model that revolutionized everything and brought down NVIDIA's stock, kind of the beginning of the year,
Before
when
the
else
tariffs.
did.
Before the tariffs.
Say it again.
Drop the stock before the tariffs.
Before the tariffs, absolutely. Yeah. Before whatever happened with their unrelated tariffs, they explained, and it was amazing, we got the insight. We kind of had heard it in different places, but they really said it took them 3 months to create the model. So it not only takes 3 months, it takes 3 months and it can only have things from before these 3 months. So you can never have an LLM that knows the latest information, by definition. So we have these different ways we can interact with other things. And we didn't do it here, but one of the uses of agents, or one of the ways we talk about agents, is adding that ability. Twice in my last Florida JS, I had a great presentation. And he said, an agent gives this magical, he didn't say this, so I'm going to paraphrase it, basically. This magical bowl of an amazing brain of everything, arms, it's able to do things, it's able to reach out and send an email, do this, do that. One of the other things it's able to do is reach out and check the weather. Something silly. Or reach out and find out the time. Right? This thing does it, and I can be pointing at a $600 iWatch, I can be pointing at a $20 iWatch, and it will still tell me the time. You're talking about one from the dollar store until tell me the time. And these are $3 or $4 million GPU servers. Each rack costs $14 million. Really? Can't tell the time? I'm pretty sure you can. It's running a computer. Computer knows the time. What's going on? LLMs, by definition, only know the information aside, so they're able to get instant information added to themselves by these agents that can reach out. Some of them, they just reach out to the internet. Right? That presentation you did find, where all of a sudden we created an agent, a persona. We told the LLM, be this person, be an expert in real estate, be an expert of this, be an expert of this. And you guys saw, it seemed to have information about real listening. You're like, wait, where did they get a real listening? Now, they could have gotten by screen scraping the internet 6-7 months ago. Okay. That's bad, not useful. But they probably got it by interacting with them. Saying, I have all my answers, but you have to just reach out to Zillow or something, realtor.com. I can get more information and give you a better representation of the truth. And he's trying to do that. And these agents give it. So this isn't what this corporation did. One of the things that we talked about with this is just running them locally, running them on a powerful server. It wasn't expensive, but it was powerful. And I just want to introduce that idea for the conversation. So whenever it always isn't the answer. Like, I've done this presentation several times, and for example, there'll be models that are just too dumb. And you're like, hey, there's pretty good models. I heard Meta has this fantastic one that even beats, 03. 04 from OpenAI is out, so it's not being 04, but it's being 03. That's pretty good. Frankly, if it beats ChatGPT 3.5, I'd be pretty impressed, especially if I'm running my laptop. Well, no. Only if you want to, like we used to say in the Bitcoin days, want to have a warmed up, office because your computer will be spinning and standing. So, the computer, when it's running localhost, is doing a lot of work, a tremendous amount of work. Things that is going to be improved by something called the MPU. This is one of the latest Windows computers. So it has, all right, I'll say it to my Mac friends, what Mac has had for over 4 years. We've not had it. NPU. We have a CPU that does everything, most things. We have a GPU that does graphical stuff. And also Bitcoin and AI and all that. And NPU. And an NPU is, the purpose of an NPU is to offload, like the purpose of a GPU was to not have the CPU do so much work. Well, now the GPU is doing too much work, so now they make kind of a third. The NPU is a neural processing unit, AI CPU. It's not faster than the GPU. It's just offloading it. So that I don't have to use my GPU, which I might use for playing video games. Right? I saw something where it was like some of the racing games that will now give you live commentary that sounds AI. It sounds incredible, and specifically to you. Have you heard something like that?
So are they adding a separate
silicon chip? 100%. So Emacs has separate chip for transcribing, making movies. It's a completely separate CPU, part of the CPU. It's usually, dead in the sense that it's not on, there's no electricity to it. And then when you want to transcribe, change a video and edit a video, also that turns on. And so they're adding different things. One of them is an NPU. It's doing nothing, you can see it behind you. 0%, and it's usually 0%. And I can make it show you with certain models, you can can use them. I can showcase that. It's not that important. You can just take my word for it. What do you guys think? Any questions about that? I like it. One of the things we talked about, I had a lot of you talk with me during the breaks and the lunch, and I really appreciate it. I want to answer some of those questions for everybody, which I really I value every one of you coming to me and talking. Is this event going to be repeated? It's a one-time thing, and it is simply 3 people that are in the education business trying to share as much as they can, with the big belief that we can all grow on this together. IT is different than most other industries. This is a progressive where we all grow on each other. There's a reason we invented open source in this career path or industry, because it just was so easy to share information back and forth. They were sharing information back and forth in the 70s. This is a new invention, right? When I was a little boy, they were sharing things back and forth. They didn't call it open source, but they just called it like, here, have this and this working. So we want this to be a process by which you come and present at the next event or the next place, or at your job, right? Or to your friends, at some event, right? To your wife, or to your husband, to your nephew, to anybody. We want this to be shared. And so we don't really do this and all that, but meanwhile, we've been doing this for a long time, and specifically kind of the once a year on a Saturday, full day Saturday with food and drinks. We've been doing this for the last 3 years. So 2 years plus this for free. So sort of 0. So just to answer that question. Do you have access to the things that we did today, tomorrow? The things that you did with the AI Skills Fest, you know, the freaking name, I don't remember this. AIskillsfest.net won't be there tomorrow, or if Dwight feels generous, it might not be there on Monday, right? That's some money. That's what we're doing. Thank you for doing that for us. So last night, I told daughters, he spent 4 hours in putting every one of your emails in there, and passwords and all that stuff. And all that. So, I mean, he can automate that. 120 of which I think there's 30, 40 capable. Do we do this every single day? No. Do we? What's the rest of it? Will there be more events? And I'd love to bring that up with that. I want to do a little live coding before we do that, and then I think we'll end up wrapping up. I think I jumped the gun there with what you wanted to do. But we'd love your input
conversation. Yeah, that's excellent.
Well, I don't know if it's the right time. Maybe we can do goodbye. So, any more questions with local LLM and all that? Yeah.
So, wondering, I guess, assuming we all know, like, the human way to do things.
I don't.
Like, for example, bug, squashing bugs, for example.
Yeah.
How's that different when you add the element of AI? For example, one thing I heard is, when you find when you're maintaining code and find a bug in code that has some AI-generated element in code, you're supposed to, if you find a bug in the AI portion, you're not supposed to ask an AI to fix that bug. You're supposed to revert to a previous version because an AI is not going to do well if it's another AI-generated code, for example. So what's that little anecdotes? Do you have any more of those about what's the new version of software engineering?
Have you seen any results with the AI stuff and AI coding?
Yeah, so GitHub has this thing called GitHub Advanced Security, GHAS for those people who know about it. And it is something similar to that, where what it can do, or what the promise is. It's not quite here yet. The promise is when you turn on this extra feature from GitHub, it can scan your code for typical security vulnerabilities. And for certain types, it can fix the code for you automatically, right? And then when it fixes that code, the question is what do you do with that fixed code? You just push great, you can automate a lot of stuff, but you don't have that human curator, or you don't have some piece that gives you that verification that still behaves the way you would expect it, right? You're asking for a lot of trouble. So one of the things that Microsoft has created is something called the AI Red Team Agent that was released about a month ago or two, maybe a couple months ago. And what it does is it does penetration testing, AI penetration testing, which is a little bit different than security penetration testing. It is testing to test your prompts and test your output and evaluate how well your AI model is doing. So that is another form of, if you have some AI pieces automatically updating your code, you want to put it in the middle, so to speak. You want to have these automated tests, testing everything about it as much as possible so that it behaves the right way.
So, any other questions? Before we continue, I'd like to switch a little bit the subject to live coding. So, what have you heard of live coding? Have you tried live coding? You know what that is? So this was said by someone in Anthropic, I may be wrong, and it was sort of someone that said where they will literally define something very well from scratch and just go yes, 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 yes to everything AI does. And just let it flow, be violating with the AI, right? The SDA. And we're going to try it. So what I'd love to do is for us to do this. So if you'd like, you can follow me on this. On your, it will need either JetBrains software, you know, the IDE, or Android Studio, or Visual Studio Code. And I don't know if can we do this in the GitHub version of it? You think so?
Yeah, Visual Studio Code.
You can try it? Why don't we do that?
If you start with like a blank file.
Yep. So let's do that. If you're going to follow me along, this is something you can follow. There'll be nothing to install. Go to github.com/new. github.com/new gets you to this page. Most of you will have this filled in. I connect with a bunch of different projects, so they ask me doing that, so we'll do that, but you don't have to do this part. You'll have your name of the username you've chosen with the username icon that you have, and then you'll be able to choose a repository name, a project that you're going to be saving. You're going to be able to choose a description, that's optional. You're going to be able to make it public or private, and there's other things that we will not turn on. So let's do that. So I'm going to come in here and type in a new project. You're all welcome to follow along with me and name it the same thing. I'm going to go Vibe Coding. Coding in English. And if that's something that you don't have already a project on, you'll be cool, and then just go skip everything else. It's okay to be public. And you're going to get to here. At this moment, you're allowed to, it's a new project, it's a new repository, it's a new system or repo, as it's officially called, in your GitHub repo. And then what we can do is there's a button on the very top.
You click create repository?
So I said github.com/new. Then I filled in just the name. The drop down probably already has filled your username. And then I went to the very bottom and clicked on create. Okay? And we have the options of adding collaborators. So we're going to work with other coworkers or friends or teams. You can create a new code space. And let's go ahead and choose that option on the left. Create new code space. And then click on the green button. We get everybody along?
I didn't have that choice.
What did you get on the top left corner and you're going to create? If not, it's similar to before.
Yes, co-pilot. Yes, co-pilot.
Sherman, how about everybody else? Did you create a new?
Choose code space.
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
Top left corner. And again, it's much faster, but it's already going to create the project. It's going to have a README. The README is going to look like that. It's going to have, here you go, there's a terminal. I can run things in there. And in a minute, I'm going to press that icon over there and get over here a window with Copilot. So go ahead and follow me on that. Click up here so that you all see it better. I'm going to make it widescreen. Please give me full screen is what I meant to say. So again, we have the readme on the left-hand side. We have a command line, and we have the Copilot with a custom button on there. Is everybody with me so far? Anybody need to pause? Appreciate the thumbs up. All right, thank you. Nice, nice. So let's try it. Come over here to ask and change it to agent. Well, let's talk a little bit about it. The three options down here are ask, when you interact, a conversational, generally the AI. It's going to make suggestions, but it's going to be the same as you were having this conversation on ChatGPT. Right? You go to ChatGPT, you're like, my project looks like this, it has this file, I'm having this error, or I'd like to do this, and it's going to make some suggestions, and then it's a conversation. That's it. Edit, I don't know the difference between edit and agent, but I think it's maybe going to make some changes, I understand it. But agents should be able to do something. It's going to be able to interact with your project. It has, because you've chosen the option, permissions to reach out and read the files. Look at this file, look at this file, look at this file. And then it has suggestions. And with the right settings, you can actually just do this stuff. Or, as we saw a little bit earlier, just kind of like work. I don't know what to do, but let's try one over here. I'd like to create, you can follow on in here, and I'm going to choose some things that are going to be obvious to me, like I'm going to choose maybe Node, JavaScript, or you can choose Python, or you can choose Ruby, or you can choose .NET, or whatever you're comfortable with, Java, PHP. Let's go ahead and choose, well, just keep in Python. I like to create a Python project where it has a fast API backend. I am being explicit at some things I want to use. I've chosen a library in Python I know well, and I wanted to do different things. Where backend, let's just leave it like that. Where I have faces as images, and the front end, comma, which I want it to be in React, JS, should pull the faces images, start a camera. This is getting a little bit complicated. What the hell am I doing? And do face recognition on anything the camera sees. All right. I got a little bit crazy. I actually had a plan to do something else, but that's how we roll. And it's going to try two different things. It's going to take information. And here, one of you talked to me that you were a project manager and were originally a developer. Well, here's where we have to be as explicit as possible. The rest, some of us here are a little bit old, so we've done things called sending letters. I wrote in a piece of paper on dead trees with ink from a squid on that. Something down. Then I shipped it off to somebody else that eventually got it. They looked at it, they did something, they put it back in the envelope, maybe a box, because I was ordering something. They shipped it to me. I opened the envelope or box, and I'm like, no, that's not what I meant. I put it back in the envelope, I wrote the correction, I sent it off and all that. So we learned to be more explicit. We understood there was going to be a long wait. Now, this is not a long wait, because it's probably going to be minutes that it takes it to do something like this. What is it doing? I think it created a new one. You can come up with something that just says, make a backend in your favorite language, like Python, that pulls a list of users for which I want you to come up with Damian, right? I want a little, but what I wanted to do was, what is it doing? is really go all out. Now, one of the things that's important are certain terminologies. In this terminology, it's one shot, right? I'm describing it as much as possible, and these paragraphs can be several rows. It can be several paragraphs. It doesn't have to be a quick paragraph where I'm describing a lot of things and injecting little key things that I want to do, right? It can be all sorts of different things. I'm going to just have it keep on going. Now I think it's stuck in an endless loop here because it's creating a new open space and. All right. We'll try something else in a minute. If this keeps on going in an endless loop, because it seems to be stuck at trying to create a brand new repo and then stuck in a brand new repo. See? All right. Bad example. But remember, you can always cancel it and stop it. You have that control. Once it's started, it does give you the opportunity to see what changed and start with it. Create a simple API in Python that returns the time and date. Let's see if it tries to create a new repo for that or needs to be starting and all that. So see. Install Python extension. Ooh, sure. Keep. Done. Simple. It did it. I said, create a brand new project with an API using a language I've chosen, in this case Python, and have it have an endpoint that returns the hour and date. And it did.
Change the camera thing,
Sorry.
the camera recognition face,
Yeah. I was having a little loop, and I may have a better understanding of this. I may have it in no time. So, well.
So is all the input, I know there's different ways you can input, but it all seems to be like typing. Is there anything like a node editor or a drop down or some other way to input?
Well, instead of giving you a solution to the problem, give me the problem.
Like for example, if you use Unreal Engine blueprints, right? You just have nodes like that, node editor, right?
But you're giving your solution to the problem, but you haven't defined the problem. What's the problem?
I feel like real world projects, like you're trying to create like the face recognition.
Sure.
Like if you start typing, at some point you might as well just type it yourself, create it yourself, substitute for some of the projects. But if you actually want it, obviously I guess we can do voice interface. That's the solution. But I feel like if you go to like Amazon, like you're not necessarily typing in regex, right? You're actually just dropping down and looking at pictures and ordering, right? You're using point and click. It's a different UI.
It's a different solution to the same problem. No code, low code, which is what you were talking about, the way we do things, is a choice made by certain users to achieve the same goal as others. Actually, Yoda, when we invite this to work at it, we had a division of low code, no code, and it was doing fantastically well. And we had our division, which was developers, exactly the way the people, like I can do this in the morning. They were not one or the other. Nobody was going, ha 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 ha, what morons, and then you choose who they were pointing at. Because clearly, everybody has their own, that's the one that's not real, right? Or too much typing. It's just a choice. And, we were paid the same, we were instructed to do the same kind of projects and, different variations of that. So I'm not a fan of low code, no code, or against it. It always has its purposes. If you wish, we can dive into some options to do automations, but you don't have to. You weren't here. In the morning we did that. So that's some of the things that we did and all that. And it was much fun. But it was something like that. What I want to do here is, I think we might have a little bit late in time. I think we're on our schedule as we stand. So what we're going to do is do something like this. I have done exactly pretty much the same project, and it created it. But I wanted you all to create something where I'm literally giving you like like a screenshot of Slack or Discord or Teams, whatever your way of communicating with others in your organization or group or whatever. What's up? And like literally get a screenshot of that and upload it and just say, make this. And see what happens. And then see what are the things you have to do similar to what you guys were talking about earlier, which is what happens when it breaks. Can you do things with code and vibe coding where the AI is going to be told, hey, fix this. Just like what Dwight mentioned on Gemini's presentation, which was, I don't know, it was like 3 days ago or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
One of the things, and I'm a big believer in how to present it correctly, but she was like, oh no, oh shoot, there was a code. It was on purpose. Like I mentioned earlier, she made a code on purpose to showcase this unbelievable, and it was a fantastic demo. The Gemini came in and interacted with it, and yeah, they were all living inside the Google code base that has, similar to this, a repo. So the software is in one place, and it has the code, and it has where to run the code, and it has the editor. They all have that solution just like Microsoft has it, that we'll be looking at here. So they would showcase the air, and they would show different solutions for it. It was a pretty complex air that she was showcasing. And that was pretty revolutionary. Because normally I think what you guys were talking about, which is great. I'm in a great position. I've been there 25 years, and know a lot about AI and a lot about programming. All the AI projects that are going to be out there, you know what they're going to need? Experts to go and fix them. But now the AI is doing it itself. I'm screwed. I'm out of a job. You guys can hire me? Just kidding. But that's just something we want to do this. Oh, yes. Oh, thank you. Hey, how you doing? Hey, what's up? So I just want to, say that vibe coding is here. I think we could all use that. I think it's better if we had a conversation about, what's next. I don't know where Dave is, but I think he wants to know. I think Dwight wants us to know as well. What do you guys want to do to continue this? We have your emails. I respect them very much. You've only seen one email. That was a mistake. I should have sent an email to remind people or to correct the address. You only saw an email about, see you tomorrow, Friday. So I'll always respect your emails. But is email the right way? It seems like a one-way direction almost, kind of like his presentations. One-way communications. What other things could we do to continue this conversation? If you're interested in this and you'd like to present something, especially show me I'm wrong. That's good. I learned I'm wrong. You're going to tell me wrong.
No, I was wondering if you were going to have like a boot camp. I talked to the.
That's worth thinking about.
She said there were classes here, but
yes.
I guess you would have to enroll as a student. You would have to really enroll versus just taking like a boot camp for a few weeks, right, or a few weekends.
I don't know anything about this. My nephew's up in the north of Boca, and so is my daughter. So I don't know Broward College. They used to have some really fun HTML classes and all that I used to reach. So there's a lot of different things. I don't know anything about right? We're not really associated with that. Broward College has really stepped up and showed this incredible, this really bucks. But we don't have any connections.
They're happy with what we're doing, and we can keep doing more things. We're hoping you guys tell them how great this was. Talk to Eddie. She's part of the IT team, and she was our connection here. So tell her, hey, this is great. We want to see more of this stuff. How can we learn AI here at Broward College? So I'm just put boot camps and talk to them because they like hosting this stuff. It's good for them to bring in the technology and the knowledge, and it's good for us to have a place. This is the best space I've ever presented. Like to have all of this. This is a great space. So make them happy so that we keep doing more of this. But a boot camp would be a good idea. Yeah, I like that.
I think we have a problem with employers not understanding what they need for the future.
Specifically, like AI skill, or you?
Any skill.
But you got to be more specific.
Definitely technical route where things are going. Okay, and so we need to figure out how to market to specifically to managers and ask them what they need, or where do you think they need this?
I want you to think. Yeah, I want you to think about that.
Like a bring your boss to meetup, Dave.
That's awesome.
And how about a presentation designed for them? You know?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, because they need to understand what the value is. We tell them how to raise the salaries of everyone that's working on this.
I've always found that the more I do, the same amount of pay they give me. So, especially when they fire the other people and I gotta do their job. Then they pay me less. But I know what you. I love it. Look at this.
It's like this. We're doing this for free, but I want to figure out a way to get paid to do this, like playing in the space. Hey, we're learning, and you guys are learning. Let's play with new technology, and I can just figure out how to do that instead of having to do this and then go do my job, like training. Just keep doing this.
And you might be thinking he's saying, "How can we charge you this?" No, the opposite. No. How can we get your employers to pay for us to do what they have? They bring some problems. You'll get together in different teams and solve them. And one of the teams makes a little bit of money. The teams enjoy free lunch and free breakfast. Something like that.
How do we get paid to learn and have fun?
There's always been a gap between university students that graduate and getting them up to par to what employers do. And that's an opportunity.
That's the boot camp I used to work for. We went out of business.
Why you gonna?
We got all the people that they needed, and we also needed to hire people. I don't know whether we were.
That's a good.
That was an important part of what we were trying to sell.
That's a good question. That's what's needed.
Yeah, I had a job before, and the job didn't pay for the classes, so I felt it was investment in myself, like in my future. So I paid for the classes. There were like a couple of $100, maybe like $250 to $500 for I don't know how many weeks it was or how many hours, but I was willing to pay for my own classes for the training. Like I would pay for this. As a boot camp or over several weekends, like that, to come to, go through he had his, the chapters and the, if we go through them in each, do it like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I don't, some companies won't pay, and I don't want to have to enroll into school again, I can't quit my job to enroll in school.
My nephew's been to a couple of universities, and my daughter's in high school, so we've been to the courses. Oh my God, our high school's looking gorgeous, fantastic, and like, it's just these beautiful campuses. And these colleges, my God, did I go to a crappy university, or are these colleges now gorgeous? Look at this. So I don't know, maybe that's another answer.
I think like vendor certifications might be over pretty well down here, especially in this area. For example, I went to this firefighter training fire station up here, and one vendor who has a device to put out like tests like EMP fire, training local firefighters, the home is also and then they give a certificate. If I sue the vendor, paid for all that. And
Whoa.
this particular building on the third floor, it's actually one of the most advanced medical simulation suites here. It's actually a full surgical room.
Yep.
We have like these master devices.
But you think certification is the way to go?
Yeah, I think like just this campus has like, the public safety, so the cool stuff has like a simulation department. So I think we can do like expert executive vendor training. So to go tour upstairs, then that can be the hackathon itself. Is you get the tour and you come up with a project that will help nurses or have nurses be part of it as such a matter expert. So they partner with the coder, but they're such a matter experts. And I think that'd be pretty cool because we do a panel discussion. Not everyone's a coder.
Yeah.
So Suja right there, she's an engineer and a doctor, and they have like people in the room, I think, that actually have like
I'm not a nurse. Did you think this whole presentation for 8 hours was from a nurse?
No, that suite upstairs, like, you ever take a tour of it? They're really friendly, but, like, they basically, they've been trained, like, 20 years ago, right? So they have all this equipment they never use.
But so if we can bring it back down to like, what could we do together to like, progress this industry?
So invite the Microsoft expert for healthcare AI, for first responder AI, have them fly in from Seattle, then we'll invite the.
There's no more Microsoft expert than these guys.
Yeah, so anyways, that's talking about the vertical, right?
The birthing one?
A vertical.
Oh. I'm only horizontal.
The verticals itself, because this whole area, because 1 square mile, well, actually half a square mile area is like 2 medical schools, nursing schools, it's all this cool stuff here. My dad's in his, in med school across the street.
Cool.
Well, first, thank you for doing this. I've been trying to learn AI agents this year. I started like a personal mission, and I've been doing like self-study, self-research. And when I came up with this activity, a friend of mine, because I'm doing TikToks or Instagram reels, so I'm trying to find places and recommendations. And somebody sent me this. I'm like, wait, great opportunity to put things together, because last year was starting AI cloud computing, and I know it costs money to try things, so I was very afraid of trying. Thank you for creating an account for us. I was very happy to try it. I'm very excited because I understand that automation is different from AI agents, but it also tries, optimization, it's also included into the AI agents.
Yep.
And I want to be able to create agents. So I'm in a mission to learn that and hopefully expand it and eventually teach it. But I'm documenting all what I'm learning, my process, and I'm very excited about this event. And you guys do another one, definitely call me or whatever I learn, I will let you know.
Thank you. Nice. Want to just quickly say, in the vibe there is this one, which is some fantastic Paulina Lucky and Pamela Fox. They're fantastic. They're continuation all this AI from Python. You're into .NET. There's this fantastic videos of continuing what you've learned today from in .NET. If that's what you're in, I happen to have all those examples. Yes.
We need to talk to the administration here, because they're not doing anything. It's the people at the department heads and the administration wasn't here. That's a problem.
Well, we're not associated with.
I know, but I think you need to talk to them, because they are leaders right now as well.
Yes.
And they're also hearing, like, hey, what do I need for my, they're hearing from employers as well, right? So they're like, okay, we can't do this, we can only offer this much here.
Right.
But we can offset some of that to you guys.
Yeah, they could offer continuing education classes for our working adults, because we can't quit our jobs to enroll in school full-time as students, or even part-time as a student, to go to the classes at their schedule, but I can come on a Saturday,
Right.
For several weeks. I can come on a Saturday and get a certificate or finish the chapters that we talked about.
I think that's
Like you were
fantastic.
saying, the computer science, and the math and statistics department, they could have been here in the beginning to say something, or,
Just that was usually part of our thought, really, they said, we'd love to have you guys here. I think there wasn't a chance for them to come in there, all that, that was a missed opportunity to tell you all what they have.
some adult classes, classes for working adults.
Yes.
Other schools have classes like that for working adults.
Yeah.
You know, after hours or on the weekend.
It's clearly the right answer. Thank you for that. You're validating that.
So to that point, one of the next things we're going to try to do, it's still a lot of work in progress,